carousel immediately. He gets punted off. That was Saavedra. Aguilar, he's gone up. He's been tapped, and he's into the barriers. Oh, the rejoin. Oh no.
Dean. Oh, Pedro, Dean.
Oh, Chris Lawler does have the inside track on his first left. If he's able to make that pass happen, he might be able to cut away Victorino. He does make that pass, and he makes it clean. And then coming to the right hand, and this is it. Chris Lawler seizes the opportunity and makes it. And just as the end, the rain comes to put a pin onto the end of the race, and Chris Lawler takes it.
Pedro Zuma into the wall.
It's actually Valero. Valero's actually gone off into the barriers, coming up to the cutting.
David Todd making his way back up, has already climbed 7 positions.
Oh, I spoke too soon there. Sandy goes up.
So right now, this is going to be where it's going to get shaken up. David Todd passes them while they are in the pit through the mountain straight now, going 3 wide.
Oh my word, that is probably one of the best shows of the entire season.
So we have 3-way battle going to the most dangerous turn of the mountain. Up the mountain, we have contact right there. These guys going absolutely crazy. It's going to come down to the final corner, Murray's corner. Who is going to have to lead? We may have a drag race to the finish line on our hands, folks. You see David Todd right now going into the pit lane.
We go racing for heat number 1 here in Austria. Over AMX 20 in towards the Mickey Lauda curve, bumping and banging and into the wall. That is a horrible crash. That's a huge lunge from Gaston Calabi, and he's made contact with, I believe, wow, it's a chaotic moment here. And slipstream in front for either car, and you can just see Beto Silva pushing Florian Lamigra right over.
Here we go then, Valero, he looks left, he looks right, he's going to tune to the right hand side, which is the inside going into turn 3.
Here it is. This is the crucial moment in this race. It's looking like it's only going one way. David Dott is going to take the race lead. Heading into the second half of the season, the Hungarian of David Dott has driven a masterclass here with the early pit stop. Not the ideal strategy, but an ideal race winner and an excellent performance.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
The birds are chirping, the sun is shining, and just like that, everybody, welcome back to the grand finale weekend of AMX Season 6. It's been a great year. It's been a great season. Everything now coming to fruition out here for our grand finale of AMX ZERO out at Tsukuba. Once again, from the AMX Sim Racing World Championship, I am Kevin, and joining me alongside in the booth is Julian. Julian, we've seen so many great races out here for AMX Season 6 all season long, whether it's AMX ZERO, AMX 5, AMX 10, 15. I think this has definitely become one of my favorite classes. I know it's one of your favorite classes. What are you hoping that we get to see out here for the grand finale?
I didn't prepare a list now, but close fight for the win, especially great overtake. Not a lot of wheel banging, yes. People pointing the wrong direction, more so no. Just hoping for a great final weekend out here in AMX.
Absolutely. And for everyone out there watching live on YouTube or Twitch, make sure to follow all of our social medias, especially, like I said, we may be coming to an end out here for Season 6, but there's a lot of stuff brewing up in the background. So absolutely make sure to head over to all of our social medias. Follow us out here. Stay tuned on the website. We got a lot brewing. But before we get to what's brewing in the background, we have to go over what's been brewing all season long, as well as today's race format. So like I said, out here today, AMX ZERO, it's been close. We've had a lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of professionals, a lot of newbies everywhere in between. And like I said, we've been out for several weeks, 10 weeks to be exactly. But yeah, started back on September 7th, going all the way through November 17th with this season's prize pool of over $11,000 and next level racing gear. This race's format for AMX ZERO goes as following. We got our 15-minute qualifier, followed by that top 15 reverse grid, going into heat number 1 of 20 minutes, followed by that second top 15 reverse grid, into that final heat number 2 of, once again, 20 minutes. Out here for Season 6, driver cams are required. We want to see your beautiful faces out there on the racetrack. You can get the link via the AMX Discord or on the website. Payouts are done and balances over $100 paid out every single month. So once you hit that $100 threshold, that money's headed your way. We're here every single Saturday and Sunday this season. You can get signed up anytime over at amxrace.com. Like I mentioned, every single Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays kicking it off with AMX ZERO at 5:50 p.m. GMT, followed by the second race of the day of AMX 5 right after at 7:10 p.m. And on Sundays, we just wrapped up our AMX 10 championship out there last weekend, which was a doubleheader, 5:50 p.m., second race right after at 7:20 p.m., and crowned a champion of Gael Valero, which we'll have to wait and see him later on today. And finishing up tomorrow's championship, we got AMX 15 at 5:50 p.m., our mini endurance race, where it's been a tight championship all season long, but you'll have to tune in tomorrow to see who is the champion. And our prize pool out here for AMX ZERO, free to join for everyone. Everyone's invited, but we still give away prizes. Quali, Heat 1 and Heat 2, everything gets some prize money towards your way. First place coming home with $5, second place $4, third place $3, and points awarded all the way down into 15th place. Then we have those top 15 reverse grids in between, but the points stay the same through every heat, coming to a total prize pool per race of $73. So it's free to join, but we still love to have it competitive, still love to see people walk home with some money. And Julian, this is one of those times that, like I say, we've been out here in Tsukuba before in the TCRs, but now a very different car out here today.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, we may have started the season off in Navarre, but we're going to move a whopping 10,500 kilometers due east towards Tsukuba Circuit, which is renowned for its demanding razor-sharp precision and rewarding with its brave high-speed track. It was first opened in 1970 in the city of, I'm probably going to butcher this, Shimotsuma, with a length of 2.045 kilometers or 1.271 miles. The main straight has a length of 437 meters, and with 12 corners, 7 to the right and the remaining 5 to the left, it'll provide plenty of action. Here it is, and this is what our drivers will be tackling around the Tsukuba circuit with. It is the Radical SR8 V8 with 380 horsepower, pumps out roughly 10,500 RPM, then with a weight of 680 kilograms, and it's also got a naturally aspirated 2.7 liter V8 engine.
All right, so I think it's about time that we check up on our drivers, see how things are going. Again, grand finale out here, Radical SR8s at Tsukuba. And I mean, there's quite a few out here that been with us all season long. A few people coming out here, a bit of newbies on the track, a bit of people that all season long came in halfway through the season. I know we've got to see a lot out here from the Barricalos, of course, a family affair. Been a great time out there. We've seen, I believe, Argentinian 1-2-3s up top of the podium, Brazilian 1-2-3s up top of the podium. So we're just going to have to wait and see what it's going to be for the grand finale out here today. Of course, a lot of guys that we get to see in these other classes as well, coming in here, having a bit of fun, being able to drive different cars that they maybe normally may not drive. I know this is one that used to be very popular on the iRacing service, has since been replaced with the Radical SR10s. So, of course, the SR8's getting shown some love out here today.
Absolutely, and Brazilian 1-2-3, Argentinian 1-2-3, it's something we've been talking about all the season long. But right now, you've got Australian leading the leaderboard, Josh Poe in there. So Aussie, oi, oi, oi. He's currently 3/10 ahead of Evandro Dantes, and Evandro Dantes, he's no slouch at all. He's been in the top 5 consistently in AMX ZERO and also competing in AMX 5, I believe. So will be interesting to see if we see him later on today as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen Josh out here plenty of times, whether it be AMX ZERO, whether we be out here in a different car. I know got to see him previously out in the V8 supercar, so kind of goes together like peanut butter and jelly, man. We have a lot of Australian iRacers out there. If you're not out in the V8 supercars, I highly recommend it, no matter where you're from in the world. Had a great time out for the Bathurst 1000 this year. And just like that now, seeing Jackson and NJ bumping up all the way into second place. So these guys getting under a 50-second mark is where you're really looking to be, around that 50-second mark, most of these drivers. So you're showing right now Josh Perween about 3/10 faster than the rest of the field. Shows just immensely how comfortable he is out here in these Radicals today.
If you look away from the 3/10 lead, look at that. You've got Resende and Evandro Dantes, exact same lap time, and then just half a tenth behind that, you've got Luban Lorente, and then just 6,000ths behind that, you've got Gerard Sartini, and then 200ths again to Simone De Mori. So it is very close. Ruben Lorente now goes up to P2, and now Simone De Mori goes up to P2, but it's still very close there, and Josh Owen are starting to bite away at that gap, getting closer and closer, but it is oh so close, and close qualifying, Kevin, means an even closer race.
Absolutely, especially like we said, top 15 reverse grid, so it looks like all of our drivers out here will be getting advantage of that reverse grid. I mean, I say all of them, except the guys up front having to battle their way through the pack, but just what we've seen, I mean, again, a lot of chaos introduced through here, and now we're out here with David Pereira, who, again, we got to see earlier on in the season, one of the few guys that we've seen out here with a controller, but he's not letting that slow him down too much. He's still out here. Again, some of these cars, like the Radicals, a little bit harder to control on a controller without having really that direct feedback. Again, it's always an advantage, no matter what car you are in, to have that feedback, but whenever you have something like this, that can get away from you if you don't respect it. So these cars, not really the easiest thing to just hop in and go out there. You have to really just figure out the quirks of this vehicle to be able to keep it under control. And here is another newcomer out here. We have Igor Fugetche, one of the, youngest sim racers that we've seen out here for AMX. Of course, last time around, did an amazing job. So really, this is another kid to keep an eye out, especially I can't wait to see what this kid does in both real life and in the sim, and even in future seasons of AMX. So everyone, make sure to keep this person on your radar. Just showing it, putting it down out here for Brazil.
Of course, he won Heat 2 last week out in Virginia International Raceway, if I'm not mistaken, beating out a informed Giro Barrichello, who's not with us today then, so we might see a closer fight for the lead, like we've seen before. But the SR8, it's very much like an untamed beast. Like you said, you really want force feedback with it or it will snap on you, and we can't see that, especially during qualifying. We can see how easy it is for you to get away. Very much something you can't just hop into. Like you said, you need to spend time with it, and around a track like Tsukuba where everyone's raced sometime or another. I mean, it's real, the starting ground as it is with AMX ZERO, we try to keep it free here with as little additional content as possible. It's very much a interesting car and track combination.
And just seeing out here from one of our lovely viewers out in our Twitch chat too, seeing that the Barrichello family going to be out at Interlagos, 500 kilometers Interlagos today. So definitely going to be great seeing things to see out there. I'll have to check up on social media. Of course, love to follow all of these guys, see what they're doing in real life, see what they're doing out here, special events, different things going on. Speaking of special events, so like I said, everyone out there, make sure to check out all of our social media, check out the website to see, again, what AMX has brewing in the future. But right now, we are just about 2/3 of the way through this thing out here in qualifying, where Josh Perween still just a little bit faster than all of these guys towards the front. So I can see out there too a lot of folks in chat cheering on the Brazilians. We got a couple of Spaniards, couple of Australians, big representation out all over the globe today. Of course, Austin Edwards, newcomer, unfortunately has not set down a lap time, so I'm not sure if he is gonna make it with us in time to grid.
Well, if he does make it, the entire grid will be an Australian sandwich, because we have Josh Owen who will start last and due to the reverse grid, and Edwards starting at the front. So everyone's going to be squished between two Australians then, which is something I would not ever think I would say. But right on board with Jackson Resende, he's pretty much raced in every series. AMX ZERO, AMX 5, 10, 15, he's raced a lot. He raced AMX 20 last season as well. So he's no stranger to jumping from one car and track to the next car and track.
Yeah, again, well, I'll just have to see exactly what's going on. It'd be nice to see both Australians out on the race. I don't think we've seen that in quite a long time, if ever, out here in AMX. I mean, I know usually anytime we see a lot of the Australians, hey, we never know what's going to happen out there on the field. Like I said, Josh Perween, a great driver out here. Great to see him able to put it down in the Radicals too. So out here, Evandro Dantas, Simon Demore out here. Simon Demore is one of those guys too. We usually see a lot of the higher races, so great to see him back here. I think it's really shaping up to be a great finale weekend, Julian.
Well, we've certainly got the recipe for that, isn't it? Great track, great car, close fight for pole position, and usually it just gets closer in the race. So I'm hoping that we'll see some overtakes of course, the top guys trying to fight their way back to the lead. We've seen before drivers getting the Triple Crown, but it's not the easiest thing to do. You will have to get past other quick guys, especially if the top 6 separated by 3/10. You'll have to fight through those guys as well. So it's gonna be a tricky one to call. We can only declare the winner lap 24 out of 24 when they come out of turn 12.
So here we go, the final 30 seconds out here in qualifying. It's still Josh Perween dominating out here. So again, these drivers, though, they're all getting under that 50-second time. So I think really those all throughout the top 6 currently really going to be the ones to watch out for. Again, reverse grid, there is bound to be a battle starting off in the back of the pack. We got to see again last weekend. I know Diego Villarreal, another driver, just putting it down out there in TCR. So a lot of these guys, Julian, I really don't know what to expect out here. I know to expect a bit of chaos, expect a lot of close racing, but no clue who is going to end up on the podium out there today. It is quite literally anybody's race out there on the track.
Absolutely, it's not a race I'd certainly put money on because it's just so unpredictable. Anything can happen going into turns 1, 2, and 3, and then also the main straight, probably the best overtaking spot.
But there we go, your BenQ session winner, putting it down in qualifying, top qualifier, Josh Perween with a 49.638 around Tsukuba. In second place, we got Evandro Dantas. And third, Simon Demori. Great to see him back. Fourth place, we got Jackson Sanjay. Fifth, Ruben Llorente Jr. Sixth, Gerard Sardeni. Seventh, Andres Bertoni. Eighth place, we got Diego Villarreal. Ninth, Igor Fogeche. 10th, Felipe Petronev. 11th, Santiago Barrios. 12th, David Pereira. And unfortunately, no time set for Austin Edwards. So we'll have to see if he makes the grid. If not, we have a drivers, top 12 drivers out here for the grand finale, putting it down today. But Julian, I think it's time to hit the grid and see where these drivers are again. Hey, right now, Austin Edwards looks like he's going to be missing out. So David Pereira setting pole out here behind the Porsche safety car is out. If you had to choose, who would you go with out here for this heat number one?
That's a tough one because you want to pick the guy who was fastest in qualifying because in theory they should have the fastest pace, but everyone was so close together. I'm thinking I'm going to go with a bit of a wild card here. I'm going to say Simone De Mori is going to pick it up. Usually he's quicker in the race as well, so I'm hoping that he can make his way through the grid, and for once my prediction is correct.
So as these drivers waiting for the last couple of people, I know it looks like Evandro Dantas, there he is popping up back up on the grid. So like I said, unfortunately, Austin Edwards not able to make it out here for heat number one. So we'll have to see David Pereira, Santiago Barrios, these two guys up front, how things are going to pan out for these guys. Of course, Josh Perween, Simon Demore, Evandro Dantas, everyone out there towards the back of the field, they all have what it takes to make their way through the pack. But I think one thing that, we'll see now as we go along, turn one chaos, we'll have to see, folks. Heat number one, we are going green from Tsukuba, AMX Season 6 Grand Finale of AMX ZERO. And just like that, our drivers are off in chaos already in the backfield. We already have one driver going on. That looks like that may have been someone who, again, 3 wide, 2 wide. These guys already bumping and banging around turn number one. Now coming across, we have to see the battle for the lead side by side. Gerard Sardeni able to get through, but these guys already locking up, going through turns number 4. And again, another driver off the track. Julian, it's absolute chaos in heat number one.
Wow, well, an incident. As soon as green flag's going, you can see there in the background someone struggling with the rear end. Then again, a spinner going into the left-hander. So everyone's seeming to struggle a bit in these race conditions then, as it is oh so close then. Still trying to figure out who that was who spun on the opening lap then. And it seems like we've got a couple of drivers into the pits already. Going out to the grass, never mind actually staying out there, deciding a late call going across the pit entry line. That's the number 5 car. That might be Jackson Rusende if I'm not mistaken with the number 5. I actually don't see a number 5 right now, so that must be my mistake.
Yeah, a lot going on out here. So, yeah, just crazy, man. That might have been the number 52 of Felipe Petronev. So, let's see. Again, we knew it was going to be anyone's ball game out here today. Anyone could go out there and take home the win in either heat, really. But just like that, oh, and a spin from Petronev going around now. We'll have to see, is Andres Bertoni going to take advantage of that? The pressure is off. There we see Petronev trying to rejoin the track. Just, again, it's a hard car to control on itself whenever you're just putting in hot lap after hot lap. It gets that much more difficult when you're out here in a bunch of people that maybe haven't been in this car that often. So like I said, just absolute chaos from the very start. And folks, we got 24 laps to go out here, so we'll have to see as the chaos ensues. I expect it to be going all the way throughout the grid, especially out here. This being a bit of an older car, so it does have a little bit different handling than some of the different vehicles that these guys may be used to. Especially, we have different Radicals out here, the newer Radicals being raced both in real life and in iRacing. I'm sure some of these guys are a little bit more comfortable in that car than the SR8, but nonetheless, Julian, let's have to see now Ruben Llorente up in the front of the field if he's able to take advantage of this space and walk away with the win.
Well, my prediction is already out the window. Simon Demore in the pit lane, and I think he might be out of it. So I'm as far away as you can get from the prediction, thinking he would win the race, and he was out on the main straight. I think that was him that went careering into the inside barrier there, but Lorente, he's doing very well right now. Gap 3.3 to Evandro Dantes. Bertoni already in the pit lane, and it seems like it was the number 52. This seems like I am half blind today, only able to see or read half of whatever is written there. Instead of 52, I only saw the 5 or the 2. Who really knows?
And here we go. So, yeah, unfortunately, there we see Simon De Mori out there in the pit field as well. I think he's going to probably just wait and sit this one out. Say, you know what? I got crashed out in lap number 1. I'm just going to sit here, try to just hold on to the back of the field for heat number 1, be able to go out into heat number 2, pole position, and really just start walking away. There you can see the incident from the beginning of the race. Yeah, just these guys, I mean, just so close to each other. Just unfortunately, so much damage right there. We can see in the replay, Simon De Mori pretty much losing his entire front end of the car, spinning off into the wall. So we'll have to see. He wants to come out here, get one more win. I mean, all these drivers want to get one more win, knowing this is the final AMX ZERO race. Of course, we got AMX 5 going on later on today. Make sure to stay around for that as well. But right now, we're only lap 5 into this thing, and there's already been so much carnage going on. Evandro Dantas now, the biggest mover so far, up 10 places into second place. Here we got a battle going on in the middle of the pack. Josh Perween right now on board against Diego Villarreal. Diego Villarreal going a little bit wide there, allowing Perween to go up. Again, Perween having just a little bit more pace, currently up 8 positions from the start as well.
Trying to figure out what time it is in Australia right now. It's got to be like 6 or 7 a.m. surely. So he woke up nice and early for AMX, which you gotta love to see. Of course, AMX is certainly the best highlight, or it's the highlight of the day, highlight of the week as well. So he woke up early for that, just to race with these fellow guys and try to keep it in a straight line. But what happened to Simon De Mori? Very weird. I think the mid part of the pack was, or thought that we were racing, but we weren't, so they had to slam on the brakes. You saw that cars were there 4 abreast there, and then just getting caught up in it as he's in the back, and it was just a passenger after that pretty much. So very unfortunate. Luckily, there is heat 2, and like you said, he'll be starting on pole position if Edwards does not make it to that grid either.
Yeah, so we'll have to see again. Josh Perween super early out in the morning, all hours of the morning out there for him. So yeah, we'll have to check in. I believe out in Perth right now, it's about 2 a.m. So again, definitely all hours of the morning. Still great to see him putting it down out here for AMX. Now back to the back of the pack, another battle going on. We see David Pereira, of course, out on the controller. We can just see, I can't imagine how difficult this car is to control out there on a controller. It's hard enough to control with a wheel and pedals, but David Pereira still coming out here, still holding on to it, and you know, he's not that far off the pace. Of course, if we go back a couple seasons, I remember we were out at Daytona, I believe, where we got to see Max Verstappen come out here with some of his fellow Redline teammates, and he was also on the controller. However, of course, it being Max Verstappen, the man that just lives, breathes, and eats racing all day, every day, he was still up towards the top of the pack quite a long way into that race. So it's great to see, no matter what you have, everyone out here, AMX ZERO open to everyone. So especially I hope we get to see a great comeback for this next season. It's been very popular, a lot of great races, and a great place for anyone to start in AMX.
Ooh, Santiago Barrios there. He's looking left, he's looking right, trying to find the move past Pereira, but he just can't make it down into turn 1. Then he had a look also going into the final corner. That's a rather unorthodox place to make a move, and he's had a snap of oversteer there, and he's lost quite a bit of time there. That's exactly what we were talking about. These cars, they just do not want to do what you want them to do. Tiny bit too much throttle, and you're pointing the wrong direction, and he's lost quite a bit of time with that. The gap's now 1.4 seconds, and that's that could be race defining, at least for that position, because you got to get so close if you want to overtake in these cars then. But Lorente still leads the way, and it looks like he's got some great pace today, Kevin.
Absolutely, and I was just looking back there too at Pereira. I mean, I didn't see his thumbs on the joysticks there, so he may be using the motion of the controller, which again, you have a lot more control over than just a thumbstick. But here we go, up a couple places. Felipe Petronev, who we got to see, unfortunately, early on had that incident, now holding on to 9th place, trying to just make his way up one position after another. Next person that he's going to have to make that up, though, however, is Igor Fogetcha. So, fellow Brazilian, I mean, like I said, one of the youngest drivers we've ever had out here for AMX, just putting it down. We got to see he has great pace last weekend. A little bit slower now this weekend in the Radical, but still nonetheless, a lot of this is just these drivers. Hey, you don't see the SR8 out in the service very often, so really just trying to get it down, get comfortable, and we'll have to see. I expect heat number 2 it to be a lot closer to this kid to be able to really make his way up through the pack. And these guys still, although they're on the previous lap, it's still a bit of a short track out here at Tsukuba. So like we said, 24 laps around Tsukuba can go by pretty fast, but right now, lap number 2, and Ruben Llorente is still leading the pack. We saw him get an early lead earlier on, and now almost a 5-second gap for P1. But right now, side by side, we got the number 76. We got Pereira right there. So now Pereira making the move. Santiago Barrios, these two battling it out back and forth. Julian, this is what we love to see out on track.
Exactly. Barrios, he made the mistake pretty much one lap ago, and he's already pushing Pereira now through these corners. He tried to make the move, went a bit too deep, and Pereira just got the switchback on him, was able to get past now on the inside once again to the right hander then, but he just can't get enough momentum as much as Pereira gets on the outside, and then on the rundown he just cannot get enough of a toe, it seems like, make a move. He's so close, just looking everywhere, looking to the left. Can he make a move there? No, now through the little bit of the S section, you really need to get a good run or just need to force the move. We have seen that forcing the move in AMX ZERO is the way to go. We've seen a lot of people just like sending it up the inside and just basically telling the other driver, mate, I'm hit, you gotta leave some space for me now.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of these tighter corners around Tsukuba, I mean, that's really where the passing opportunities are. So again, although these guys, it's a little bit faster car than what we've seen previously out at Tsukuba in the TCRs. Really hard to pass out here. We've seen it earlier on, trying to go to the inside line, but with that, you just start scrubbing so much speed. Really, you want to be able to start on the inside. Again, it's a super long corner, so I see a lot of guys try to make a double apex on it. Some guys trying to just take it a little bit wider, so that final corner out here, a little bit more downforce in these radicals, able to take a little bit slightly different line and just try to hang on to the outside. I know we've seen that with some drivers very good at this, but these two, I think they're just trying to, again, feel each other out, see where they are, where can I make the move, because right now they're very similar on pace. So again, battles throughout the pack right now for 10th place. These two, really wherever they end up, as long as they don't end up into the wall, looking like they're going to be shifting pretty high up on the grid for heat number 2. But there we see Santiago Barrios just scrubbing off a little bit too much speed coming out of the hairpin in turn 8, and that's one of those turns you definitely want to carry as much momentum as you can out of it. And just like this, we see him trying to come a little bit to the inside and now shoot back to the outside again. So yeah, really hard to make a move coming out of those last couple of corners. And now lap number 13, lap number 14 of 24. So Ruben Llorente, we'll have to see if he doesn't end up coming up really close to these guys and having to deal with some back traffic.
Two completely different lines going into the final corner. Barrios, they're going for an early apex, while Pereira going for a very late apex, and that's helping him get the run on the main straight that he needs to remain in front, and he's doing it right now. We'll see if Barrios will do the same thing, going in for a early apex and running it in deep. No, this time I think he's gonna try something else now, and he's pretty much picked the middle of the track now. Can he get a good run? Oh, and there is contact, but he somehow kept it out of the wall. There was a bit of a slide from Barrios there. How he saved that on control, I do not know, but Barrios letting him by, which you love to see. He just went a bit too hot into the second part of that turn and just clipping the rear right of Pereira, but they're still fighting for it, and that was a close one. That could have ended up with Pereira in the wall.
Yeah, so just like that, I'm sure, I mean, we might have to catch a replay just to catch another angle of that right there, but look at these guys, I mean, still going on. Simon Demori still hanging out in the pit, so like I said, I think if he hasn't retired from this, he may just be waiting it out until heat number 2, get on pole and try to come away with one more win out here in AMX ZERO. But right now, still, we got these guys up toward the front of the pack now. Pereira, Barrios, Petronev up front to about 25 seconds. But like I said, just the traffic, I didn't expect it to see it this soon. But again, some of those incidents early on in the race, plus these guys just trying to battle out towards the back of the pack, they are slowing down each other just a little bit. So, I mean, this is really akin to what we get to see in multi-class racing. But right there, oh, side by side going through turns number 2 and 3. A dangerous place if you don't get that just right. But there we see Barrios able to just get ahead of Pereira. So a gutsy move, but it paid off for Barrios.
That's very smart racing. Some 40 chess from Barrios there, getting past as Pereira lets the leaders by, taking advantage of him, letting off this roll. But now they're kind of in a sandwich. This reminds me of Oscherleben all those weeks ago now, where the leaders were stuck behind lap traffic, and that was race defining in the end. I think Evandro Dantas picked up the win in the end there, but you've got full cars, 2 of them fighting for position at the back of the grid, and 2 of them for the front, or at least in the front half of the grid.
So here we go, folks. Again, just anytime you come up on lap traffic, that is a whole nother thing. So I've learned that the hard way out for multi-class races, especially whenever you're in a faster car. It's you got to be really careful. So definitely our leaders doing a great job navigating traffic there. See Ruben Llorente, again, kind of a bit on a leisurely cruise now that he knows he has a bit of slower traffic between him and second place of Evandro Dantas. We'll have to see exactly how that comes into play. But now other drivers as well. Josh Perween currently sitting in 5th place. We got to see him setting pole early on for qualifying, doing a great job. Now already up 8 positions. But once again, this lap traffic is just going to really have to find a smart way to navigate around it. He knows he can get up onto the podium. There's still enough time, but that gap is ever so increasing now. So we'll have to see as he's coming up on Jackson Asensio. There we see the picture-in-picture replay. Santiago Barrios, they're going to the inside of Pereira, and oh man, that is a huge net code if I've ever seen it in my life.
Oh, that was so close coming out of the final corner right there. In the end, Barrios didn't get past Pereira, just a couple of laps later than, and a whole lot cleaner than that, which is, you always love to see it. Josh Perween, though, he's got 1 second out to Jackson Rosende in front of him. He's really loving these SR8 Radicals, which it's a weird car that you would be very good at. He must spend a lot of time just like fighting the car. Maybe he does love a bit more of an oversteery car. Of course, we got fixed setups here, so you just gotta get on and deal with it, and he's doing that very nicely. Someone else who's doing that very nicely is Ruben Llorente, who still leads the way by just under 5 seconds then, and I think he's gonna win this. In fact, they're the only 2 who have not made a pit stop, so everyone else must have had some sort of damage, I'm assuming, from that lap 1, I was gonna say turn 1 incident, but that lap 1 race start incident.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll have to see. I think we're going to see just as much chaos going out here into heat number 2. Some of these guys getting really close, but yeah, what we've got to see in the TCR, especially out here, be able to do a direct comparison since it wasn't that long ago at Tsukuba, really how much harder those guys are with each other. Really, the TCR is such a hard vehicle to get a pass on compared to these ones. Less downforce, less power. So when you have such a light car like this, again, you don't really have some of those aids. We've got to see a lot of these guys locking up, spinning tires out here today. But like I said, in comparison to the TCRs, those guys really having to push the issue. These guys, not so much. They're able to just sit back just a little bit. They know if the driver in front of them is a little bit slower, they just got to be patient, and then there is going to be a gap open up for them. So we'll have to see right now, just as soon as I see that little bit of lock up there in front of Josh Perween. So Jackson Asensio, one of the Delinta Esports drivers, of course, pro driver out there, FIA, F4, as well as some of his teammates. We got to see plenty of people out here. And Julian, again, if this is how things are starting out here for AMX ZERO, I can't wait to see how things go for AMX 5 as well.
Well, the standard this race is setting is insane. AMX 5 will need something special, which I'm fairly sure it will produce, as it does most of the time, you know, with that mandatory pit stop in Heat 1, the longer Heat 1, the 35-minute Heat 1, and then they sprint the sprint race in Heat 2, then a lot shorter, where usually most of the carnage happens, especially in the opening laps, as we have seen here in AMX ZERO as well. So think AMX ZERO and turn it up to 11. That's pretty much AMX 5 in a nutshell.
And again, we're going to be going out to Autódromo José Carlos Pace, otherwise known as Interlagos. So out there in the GTE cars, we got to see the GTE cars quite a bit in previous seasons, not as much out here this season. So that's going to be great to see those cars back out here. Of course, being replaced by the newer GT3 cars in iRacing as well as real life WC IMSA. So again, we'll have to see where these guys end up on the field with that. And that too, I can't talk about AMX without talking about one of the legends of AMX, the man himself. Of course, you guys know who I'm talking about, Gael Valero, taking home the AMX 10 championship last weekend, and now he is so far ahead in the points. It is all but set in stone out here again. A bit of an incident that he got into last weekend's AMX 5, but I don't think it was enough, again, for it to really be a penalty. It was a lot of hard racing, but then again, I am not the stewards. I don't have to call those tight calls, but yeah, just how far he was ahead after that race, it is looking like it is definitely going to be Gael Valero taking home that second championship of the season. He's already taken home 3 in a row the last several seasons. This man is just out here on a mission. We got to hear from him last weekend after the race again, and he seemed honestly to be quite a little bit bored on some of these championships that he's just in the lead so much. I know out for AMX 15, that's one that it's a lot closer championship than the rest of the classes for first place. So we'll have to see again, Gael Valero, if he's going to come up to show up later on, or if he's already said, you know what, I've taken the championship. It is all but said and done. I'm going to take the day off. But if I know that man, he just loves to come out here and race. He doesn't care what car he's in. He doesn't care what kind of race it is. He just wants to come out and do what he does.
I mean, yeah, who doesn't want to race around Interlagos? Such a great track, especially in the GTs, like you said. But for now, we're hitting Tsukuba in the SR8 V8 Radicals, and Lorente has extended that gap to 6 seconds. And my word, I think in qualifying he was like P5 or P6, which, yeah, what I said, a close qualifying grid, it's so tricky to call because qualifying pace, race pace, 2 completely different stories. You can be 6/10 on pole and then you can lose the race by 20 seconds because you spun on lap 1. And right now this man right here has done the perfect balance between the two, qualified in the top half, and he's gonna win. He won then by more than 6 seconds, and you could see there for a split second how much he was celebrating that win.
So there we go, folks. Ruben Llorente taking it home out here for heat number 1. Doing a great job. That's all that he needed, was able to just get in front of the pack early on and then just start walking away with it. 8 positions up from where he was. Evandro Dantas had quite the battle to make his way all the way through the pack as well, but unfortunately, he was the biggest mover of the day, but it was still only enough for second place. So those two are going to have to settle it out in heat number 2. The Spaniard, the Brazilian out there going on. Again, Julian, I mean, you know, he said, hey, it's about 20 minutes out here, 24 laps around Tsukuba, and it seemed like there was so much going on within the first 5 laps, and then things kind of settled down just a little bit. People started getting their rhythm. But what are you hoping that we see for heat number 2?
Oh, I would love to see more of the same fighting, just a tad bit less cars getting involved in a opening lap accident. But what a race this was. Heat 2 then, bring it on.
Absolutely, and there's your BenQ session winner out here in heat number 1. Ruben Llorente Jr. putting it down out here. Evandro Dantas coming in second. Gerard Sardeni in third. Jackson Asenge 4th place, Josh Perwin in 5th, Diego Villarreal 6th, Andres Bertoni in 7th, Igor Forgetchen 8th, Felipe Spechanev 9th, Santiago Barrios 10th, David Pereira 11th, Simon Demori in 12th, and unfortunately, like I said, Austin Edwards not making it to grid out here with us today, but Josh Perwin setting the fastest lap, so technically he was fastest out there in heat number 1 as well as getting top qualifying, so we'll definitely keep an eye out. Hopefully he's able to have a clean race out here for heat number 2.
Yeah, of course, he made that pit stop there, which I'm assuming was for damage then. So we'll have to see if he can keep his nose clean then going into Heat 2. Of course, the exact same points system like in Heat 1. The safeguard pulls into the pits. It's a very quick formation lap then. as Santiago Barrios will lead the... Sorry, not Simone de Mori. I was not all the way scrolled up on the live timing, which there should be a link in the Twitch chat. That was definitely on purpose transition to advertise that. Anyway, what a start then from Simone de Mori. He's got a massive gap to the cars behind them, and you can already see we've already gone a turn without anyone pointing the wrong direction, though, through turns 1, 2, and now 3, the S section. Very tricky section. They're 2x2 then, locking up their brakes there, as well as 4 abreast coming out of it as well, and it is oh so close.
And just like that, yeah, we see, oh, the carnage happening right there. That's Sardani off into the wall. So just like that, and another vehicle. So we got so much. We have Fogetcha missing his front half. We have just so much carnage. Just as you're saying, Julian, commentator's curse strikes once again. We're saying how clean these drivers are going. And just like that, second sector of the track going into the third sector, just absolutely just, yeah, chaos again, once again. But Simone de Mori going to be taking advantage of that. He was a man on a mission out here to redeem himself in heat number 2, and he's doing just that. So, oh, here we see a little back and forth again. That looks like we have Spechin and Fogetcha again. Missing his front half. So much going on out here. The Delite car. So, especially these guys, you know, if you're going to be driving without your front end of your vehicle, it might be time to pick, because I don't see how you're going to be able to really have the control that you would. Just missing so much of that front downforce, but we'll have to keep an eye out here. Diego Villarreal, Igor Fogetcha out there, Spetronev, Pereira, so many drivers towards the back of the field that once again, they all want to be out here and just hold on to their positions. But Fogetcha, I don't know if he knows that he's missing his entire front end. I mean, he surely has to feel the lack of grip on those front wheels.
Oh, and there's a car off there in the background. That's Villarreal, and there was another car off there. That might have been Perez ahead of him. Now there were 2 cars off in the background, and another front bumper flying around. Is now Barrios and Resende are fighting away for P2. And speaking of commentators, because I'm now 2 for 2 then within 2 heats, so I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. I'm sure the drivers will absolutely hate that, but let's see if I can. Hopefully I can't keep that up going into AMX 5, but you never know. A good commentators, because it's always very funny, even if it happens 2 seconds after I say my jinx. And here we go, the incident at the race start then, and it all starts from just a snap of oversteer, and then a bump up the spoiler there, and then another bump up the front bump, and that's where the 2 front bumpers went off. I was waiting for that, and then just beached in the grass, making his way out. Oh, and those cars, they were bumping and banging all throughout that incident.
Yeah, so there, I mean, just Andres Bertoni just getting a little bit loose coming around that corner, and unfortunately just cutting off the nose of Igor Fogetcha. So again, I mean, that's kind of expected when you have close racing. Just the slightest of mistakes can just absolutely escalate from there. We have a bit of the domino effect, and unfortunately Fogetcha got the worst out of that one. But like I said, there was plenty of incidents going on after that as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on those replays. Now, Simone de Mori still setting fastest sector 2, fastest sector 3 out there. Again, this man is on a mission coming out here. Already 4.5 seconds over the second place of Jackson Sanjay. Jackson having to keep an eye in his rearview mirror now. We have Josh Perween. We know Perween is fastest in terms of outright pace out here today. But there we see another incident there from Sardani. And oh, just again, these drivers just getting a little bit loose, starting to slide out on some of these corners. So we said that at the very beginning of the broadcast, that these cars are no joke. It is one thing to tame the beast of a car out here. So definitely in real life, getting to see some of these guys, especially another sim racer turned real life racer, Suelio Almeida. We get to see him out in the Radical North American Cup, as well as competing in the Radical World Championship. So it's great to see his journey going from sim racing out into the real world. That'd be another driver I would love to be able to see out here. I mean, there's so many drivers I see out there in sim racing that yeah, we'd love to have them. We've gotten quite a few pros, quite a few professional sim racers, professional drivers, all the way to the likes of certain Formula One world champion out here with us. But you know, we'll have to wait. Again, Julian, season 7, we're just gonna have to wait and see. That's all I can say for now. Everyone, make sure to follow all of our social medias to see what we got coming up for next season when we make those announcements.
Absolutely, and if we're going to pick up where we're leaving off, we're going to pick up at an extremely high point there, because this race, I mean, so many battles. Then this is the battle that we are looking at right now, the battle for P2 between Jackson Resende and Josh Powen. Josh Powen currently has the fastest lap of the race. You can see how much he's pushing. He's right up on the grass. Jackson Resende got onto the grass there for a second. Somehow did not lose any sort of grip, so that's very impressive from him. Yeah, he must be the grass whisperer, but look at that. Josh Powen is pushing him, drafting him down the main straight. He's going to try going around the outside, but just can't make the move. Can he make the switch back and get the better run? No, he can't. Jackson Resende is positioning that car absolutely perfectly and defending for his life like that. P2 depends on it.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, with 4-second gap, it was 4.5 seconds, so it's slightly shrinking for first place. But here we see that incident with Sardani going around, and I mean, it looks like so many people just all over the track. We've seen incidents happening, and just unfortunately right there, we could see it looked like that might have been David Ferreira there just getting into it, and all these drivers just bunching up, and unfortunately, man, it just ends with another person just out into the wall. So, like I said, close driving, but at the same time, these drivers are pushing it really hard, and you have to really find that fine line between pushing it super hard or ending up in the wall. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys have ended up into the wall, but we're going to keep an eye still on our leaders out here. Josh Perween, Jackson Assange, this is probably going to be the battle for, I mean, it's really hard to say it this early on in the race. Still only lap 8 of 24, but this battle definitely going to be going on very tight. Again, Jackson Assange, one of the best defenders. I feel like a broken record saying that, but he proves it every single week that he's out here. There's a reason that he has that iRacing Pro license out there, that he's been able to get out there with the best of the best, no matter it's AMX, no matter if it's an iRacing Pro Series, whatever's going on, Jackson Assange is able to put it down. Again, putting it down out here for Team Delete.
Absolutely, and his eyes are just glued to his rearview mirrors right now. If this car has it, I'm actually not too sure. I think it does have some on there. Yes, it does. But now, look at that. Great exit from Josh Perwin, but just gets caught up on the curb on the inside and needs to correct the slide. Does not get the run he wanted, and that might have been his best chance up to date right now to get past. He's going to have to re-engage, but he's already pretty much bump drafting him through these corners and out onto the straight. Then can he get a good run? He did get a good run. He's now in the slipstream, in the draft. Jackson Resende going to the inside, then back to the outside. Josh Perwin staying to the inside. Then we've seen before, the outside gives you the better run onto the main straight then, and it seems like that will stay true for Jackson Resende, who has survived yet another lap. 14 left to go. Can Josh Perwin find a way by?
Yeah, and again, there you can just see going through the final turn just how hard it is for these drivers to really get a move done. I've only really seen a move get done there when someone makes a mistake, but again, two of the top drivers out here for AMX, it's hard to see them make a mistake when they've been so excellent out here, especially when you both put them in something with rear-wheel drive, a lot of downforce out there. These guys are going to put on a show, and a show it has been out here all day long. So lap 10 out here, heat number 2, Jackson Assange. Again, I think right now he knows, all right, as long as I'm having to be super defensive, I'm not going to be able to catch up to Simon DeMorian there. We can just see coming back around the final turn how close Perween has to stay on Jackson. But once again, it's such a hard place to make a move. Again, a little bit of a peak right there from Perween, but he knows he's not going to really send it. There's not quite enough space. If he does that, both of them are going to end up into the wall.
I wonder now if Josh Perwin starts to think, can I do something different to get past? I've been stuck behind him for a while. We saw in Heat 1 there, Pereira and who was Pereira fighter? Barrios, yeah. Going into the final turn, Barrios, he changed it up. He went wide going into the final turn, and that gave him a way better run. I wonder if that's what Josh Perwin is thinking about right now, just staying on the outside, and it seems like he is. But then he just turns in a bit too early to a hit. Mid part of the corner there, he just runs out a bit wide and then just cannot get his foot down early enough, as he needs to wait for the front end to respond. And he's just half sending it, letting Jackson Resende know he's there. Jackson Resende, snap of oversteer then from him, and now they're super close. Now he's going to try going around the outside then. Can he get the better exit? No, instead there's contact, and that front bumper is being held on by sheer, well, never mind, it's back on some net code issue there, so it's back on those engineers. Wrap it out on track.
Yeah, so just, I mean, so much going on right now. Again, yeah, that's definitely going to affect Josh Perween's speed a little bit. You can see how much is just shaking out there. So, unfortunately, that may just be where Josh Perween sits now, dropping down 1 second back. But here another battle going on. Evandro Dantas, Santiago Barrios, side by side, going into the final turn. Around the outside, we have Barrios. Evandro Dantas getting the inside line. What we'll have to see is quite a bit of run off to the outside now, trying to make the switch back, going into turn number 1. A little bit later on the brakes, will he be able to get this? No, unfortunately not. Just does not have the pace to be able to overtake Dantas. So Dantas now up 8 positions from where he started on the grid. We'll have to see Santiago Barrios. What can he pull out to be able to get back out there? We have everyone out here cheering on the Brazilians out here today. Again, Santiago Barrios, we got to see in heat number 1 a little bit further on back towards the pack. But right now, Evandro Dantas looking to hope that Jackson Senji and Josh Perween can start fighting again to start making up that 5.5 second gap.
Oh, it's going to be a total order about Josh Perween. I think that damage is just a bit too much. He's dropped back on cap at 2.36, and it is getting larger so much. Look at that, already soon at 3 seconds. So I think Evandro Dantas will catch up before lap 24 and get past him. But now down the inside, look at that, Lorente on Barrios, the Heat 1 race winner, gets past and moves up into P5. What a move. That was late going into turn 1. That's what we were talking about. Got to force the move if you want to make it going into turn 1, and he did just that. Now, can he line up a move on Evandro Dantas then? We saw in Heat 1, he's got the pace over him, but can he find a way past him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, these guys just putting it out here, putting it down all day long. And again, maybe a little bit of drama, not as much drama as we have seen in the last several weeks. Of course, a few drivers that we've seen all season long not out here on track either. I know Bruno De Carmo, one of those guys that's been out here just kind of hanging on, but I'm sure a lot of them that are missing today are going to be focusing for that AMX 5 race later on, as well as there's other events I know they have going on as well. So we'll have to keep an eye out. Got to see Dino Filippa, Gustavo Ariel, two of the guys that we've seen out here before, both of them now out there racing in real life this weekend. We had the Barrichellos out at Interlagos. So like I said, so much going on still this late on in the year. That's great to see these guys being able to pursue their dreams, being able to put it down both on the sim, both out in real life. And now Julian in his lap number 15 of 24. Simon Demori already has a 5.7 second gap. Evandro Dantas a 7.5 second gap. Do you think this is where we're probably going to end up seeing our top 3 on the podium?
It's a close one to call because Ruben Lorente, he's made up quite a few positions, 9, the same as Evandro Dantas. So P1 and P2 then from Heat 1. Now P3 and P4, the fight for the podium. I don't think it's over quite yet. I don't think Lorente is going to sit on, but he just needs to close up. Look at that gap now, half a second, 6/10 now, so it's hovering around that section, but he is dropping back ever so slightly in sector 1, then waiting for the sector 2 split. If we can confirm that it's actually a bit slow, he is dropping back ever so slightly, so it seems like sector 1, sector 2 is not really where Lorente is making up the time then, but now it has dropped down to 4/10 then, so I think we might see another move for P3 in the upcoming stages of the race.
So we go, folks, right now, lap number 17 of 24. It's been Simone Demori all heat long. He had an incident early on right off the green flag going out of heat number 1 into the wall, but he was able to just go into the pit, say, all right, I already know that is my race done for heat number 1. I'm going to redeem myself, and redeem himself he has. So as long as he can keep it clean, it's looking very much like he will be coming home with the win out here in heat number 2. He's going to be so glad to have that. You know, again, we'll have to wait and see if he shows up for AMX 5 as well. Would love to see him as well as a lot of the guys out on track. So AMX 5, there's still time to get signed up, get out on track. That one, of course, minimum 2,000 iRating, and a lot of guys out here meet that criteria. So you better be out there on track. I better see you. But we're going to be out of, once again, GTE out at Interlagos. That is going to be a great one. I have a fond place in my heart for the GTE cars. I know a lot of people focus on the newer GT3s, but just with the GTEs, especially the history being made out there at Le Mans. Once again, Ford versus Ferrari in the modern era. Ford doing what they do. Come out here and become the underdog, make a big upset. So again, you know, I usually say I'm a bit of a Chevy guy, but anytime that we see any American manufacturer out at Le Mans, I love to see it no matter who it's coming from.
Oh, that movie about Ford versus Ferrari, Le Mans 66. In my opinion, that's the best motorsport movie ever. I remember seeing that for the first time. I was blown away. Such a great movie. If you have not seen it, would highly recommend. And if you have seen it, get yourself some popcorn after the race and go ahead and watch it. But now running wide, Ruben Lorente, he's certainly pushing that. He's got 5 laps left to try and get P3, and he's closing in ever so slightly. Is it enough though to go for the move? I think he needs to wait for Evandro Dantas to make a mistake, doesn't he, Kevin?
Yeah, definitely. Again, like I said, both of these guys they've been kind of really close to each other, really similar on pace the last several laps. So it's really just going to come down to that. Again, who's going to make the mistake first? Is Ruben Llorente really just going to start pushing too hard and make that mistake? I don't think so. Just seeing what we got to see out in heat number 1. Of course, Ruben just absolutely dominated once he got up front. Once he had that clean air, he was able to just focus in and come away with the win. Like I said, although he was 5th in qualifying, I think he's really just come in here the last couple of heats, really found his groove and just setting in past lap. There we see a bit of tire smoke going on, so not sure exactly who up front did that. Locked up a little bit. Looks like we may have a back marker coming up right now.
Oh, but it gets out the way nicely. Very well done from it. I think that might be for... Yeah, never mind. He's out of it. It's got to be Sardini then. Anyway, whoever that is does not have a front bumper, so beware of him. Upcoming drivers, but still, 100 Dantas leads away. You can just now see how close it is. Gap 3/10. If Lorente can keep it this close to, man, you see in the bottom left of 100 Dantas, he should have a good run going on to the main straight. Then here you go, nice little helicopter cam looking to the inside, then just to scare him maybe. Here we go. Then can he get a good run on the main straight? Like I said, 470 meters or so. Never mind, that's not a good run. That's way too much speed, and that's going off. Did he? He just avoided the wall there. Luckily, it's a very wide main straight, but going off into the grass there and then almost hitting the inside wall there. That was oh so close, and I think Evandro Dantas has lived to not fight another day, but to fight for the rest of the race. Then I think he's got P3 in the bag now.
Yeah, just like that. That was the move that may have just cemented his position up on the podium. We already see, again, our top 2 drivers, Simon Demore and Jackson Assange, how far they are ahead of each other, how much of a gap they have already put on the other drivers. Like I said, as long as they have about 3 laps left in this thing to not make any mistakes, they are going to be walking away those top 2 positions. Now, Evandro Dantas, 1.2 seconds over Ruben Llorente, 3rd and 4th place right there, Santiago Barrios. So, seems at this point, everyone, once again, is already spread out on the track. But, however, a lot of our top drivers, as we got to see earlier, already making their way through lapped traffic. So, these guys better be pulling off to the side. I know the blue flags will be coming out for those guys, so they'll have to pay attention. Anything can still happen, so I'm not putting it down for, even though this is where it's looking like our podium may be, something might be able to happen. A back marker spins out, ends up crashing into one of these guys. I hope that doesn't happen, but I only say that because that happened to me and my team out for Petit Le Mans, leading the race on the final lap. Halfway through into the halfway point, another car spun out into us, unfortunately putting us down. But I think right now, Julian, these guys are very good, very clean this second half of the race out here amidst all the chaos early on. Simon Demore just doing an amazing job for heat number 2.
Indeed, my prediction for heat 1 was actually my prediction for heat 2, so I got that one bang on, and he's leading now by 6.5 seconds. And beware of the commentators, because Kevin, never say that it's done and dusted until the checkered flag is out. Trust me, it's happened. And I mean, you know, like you said, getting taken out on the final lap. Doubt that's gonna happen to Simon Demore, as he's not got a lap car in or close to him at all. I think if we can get a shot of in front of him, but I think the closest car is that 6.2 second gap behind him to Jackson Resende, who's just chilling right now. I mean, he's got no one in front of him, no behind him. Someone who does have someone in front of him is Ruben Lorente, who has to back up to Dantas. How has he done that? He was 1.3 seconds behind 2 laps ago. Now it's 3/10 then, but is it a bit too little, too late then, as he's certainly close up? I doubt he'll make a move then. He'll have to go for it. probably into the final corner or the run up to the line, but now he's starting to drop back then as Evandro Dantas has noticed the threat from behind. They are coming up to a lap car in front, and it seems like Ruben Lorente, well, he is certainly pushing. Someone who is chilling though, needed to push at the start then, is this man right here. Simone De Mori picks up the Heat 2 race win. Back to Lorente and Evandro Dantas then in the slipstream. Then can he go for the move? No, he can't. He's way too far behind, but what a Heat 2 that was.
Absolutely. I mean, just a great show all the way up front. I mean, our top two drivers just kind of walking away with that once they got in those positions. Of course, Jackson Sanjay just up 8 positions. Evandro Dantas brought him up 9. Ruben Llorente up 9 as well. So, like I said, Simone De Mori, he was out there in the pits in heat number 1, waiting it out. And like we said, it's a lot about patience, but him knowing that reverse grid, he was going to just patiently hang out in the pits. No, okay, this is potentially the one of the few final chances I have in AMX. Of course, finale weekend, a win is a win. AMX ZERO out here all day long. And there we see the man himself. Big congratulations for Simon De Mori out here. Your BenQ session winner in heat number 2, coming home, putting it down all day long. Jackson Sanjay in second place, the Delinte Esports driver, the Brazilian in second, and 2 Brazilians up on the podium. Evandro Dantas right there in third place. Ruben Llorente Jr. in fourth, Santiago Barrios in fifth. Josh Perwin, although he was the quickest by pure pace, unfortunately coming home with a P6 out here for heat number 2. Felipe Spechanev in 7th, Andres Bertoni 8th, Gerard Sardeni 9th, David Pereira in 10th, Igor Fogetche in 11th, Diego Virel 12th, and unfortunately Austin Edwards. Would love to see the newcomer out here on track, see what he can put down with these guys, but I guess that'll have to wait for season 7. Along with a lot of these guys, Julian, again, Igor Fogetche coming out last weekend, just really putting it down, especially being able to beat a real-life pro driver of Dudu Barrichellos out there. So it's been great season finale, great season all together. But folks, AMX ZERO, I know everyone out there, whether you are a pro, whether you are a beginner, it has been non-stop action all season long. Julian, I mean, just not only reflecting on today's race, but reflecting on the entire AMX ZERO season, what have been some of the biggest highlights for you?
You're making me wind back the clock here. The first race in the Mazda MX-5, I mean, that pretty much set the tone for the entire AMX ZERO championship. I mean, that was constant chaos, battling. And now I gotta go Oscherleben as well. That was a great race. And yeah, last week as well, getting that race win, or Fogetche I should even say, getting that race win. And what I find really interesting is, we know with drivers like Gael Valero, he prefers the GT3 cars. We are seeing something very similar like that, Fogetche preferring the more traditional cars compared to something like the SR8 V8 Radical.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think pretty much all season long for AMX ZERO, it has been Brazilian domination. That's one thing we've seen. Bruno De Carmo, Dudu Barrichello out here now. Igor Fogetche last weekend showing that, hey, he's young, but he's out here to race. So I think there's so much to be looking forward to. I love to see these drivers and what they can do. Come back next season. I want to see a lot of these guys that we only got to see for AMX ZERO. I know they have the I rating. I know they can make it, and really, I think they can hold their own against some of the best out here. So that's one thing I'm really hoping that we get to see for next season. But I think for right now, once again, we got AMX 5 coming up here very shortly. We're going to be in the GTE cars, heading it out to Interlagos. So definitely not one of those that you're going to want to miss, where we are going to be crowning another champion. Right now, looking like Gael Valero is just so significantly in the lead that this is all but officially his. But like I said, we're gonna have to see who's gonna come out to Interlagos, get one more race win of the season. Folks, don't go anywhere. We will be right back. AMX 5 in a few minutes. Max Verstappen back into first place. They want to make that move, but here goes Gustavo Ariel diving to the inside. Gael Valero looking for the move over Archie Neumann. He has it.
And you can just see Peter Zuba pushing Florian Labigra right over.
Oh, Chris Lundholm, he does make that pass.
Gael Valero doing his best on the outside, gets sideways, and no, the teammates crashed. We had the number 11 going right there. 3 wide out there in the middle of the field, through the mountain straight now, going 3 wide.
Oh my word, that is probably one of the best shots of the entire season.
Towards the Mickey Lauda curve, bumping and banging and into the wall. That is a horrible crash.
2 wide now, door to door. Max Verstappen of Underdoctus. Max Verstappen able to safely rejoin. Slots it right in front of another car.
Carousel immediately, he gets punted off. That was Saavedra. Aguilar, he's gone off, he's been tapped, and he's into the barriers. Oh, the rejoin, oh no!
Dean, oh Pedro, Dean.
Oh, Chris Lundholm does have the inside track for the Swiss left. If he's able to make that pass happen, he might be able to cut away Victorino. He does make that pass, and he makes it clean as they're coming to the right hand. And this is it. Chris Lundholm seizes the opportunity and makes it. And just as the end, the rain comes to put a pin onto the end of the race, and Chris Lundholm takes it. Miranda, Peter Zuba into the wall.
It's actually Valero. Valero's actually gone off into the barriers coming up to the cutting.
David Todd making his way back up, has already climbed 7 positions.
Oh, Oh, I spoke too soon there. Sandy goes up.
So right now, this is going to be where it's going to get shaken up. David Toth passes them while they are in the pit through the mountain straight now, going 3 wide.
Oh my word, that is probably one of the best shows of the entire season.
So we have 3-way battle going to the most dangerous turn of the mountain. Up the mountain, we have contact right there. These guys going absolutely crazy. It's going to come down to the final corner, Murray's corner. Who is going to have to leave? We may have a drag race to the finish line on our hands, folks. You see David Toth right now going into the pit lane.
We go racing for heat number 1 here in Austria. Over AMX 20 in towards the Mickey Lauda curve, bumping and banging and into the wall. That is a horrible crash. That's a huge lunge from Gaston Callavi, and he's made contact with, I believe, oh wow, it's a chaotic moment here. And slipstream in front for either car, and you can just see Peter Silva pushing Florian Levigra right over.
Here we go then, Larry. He looks left, he looks right. He's going to the right hand side, which is the inside going 8 to 10-3.
Here it is. This is the crucial moment in this race. It's looking like it's only going one way. David Toth is going to take the race lead. Heading into the second half of the season, the Hungarian of David Toth has driven a masterclass here with the early pit stop. Not the ideal strategy, but an ideal race winner and an excellent performance.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
Another beautiful day out here in Brazil, where we're headed out to Interlagos for our grand finale of the AMX 5 Championship this season. Welcome back, everybody, to the AMX Sim Racing World Championship, where we've had an amazing season all year long. The past few seasons now, everything culminating to this for AMX 5. And once again, we have the man, the myth, the legend leading the way. But before we get into that, joining you from the booth, I am Kevin alongside with Julian. Julian, we just got to see some great action in AMX ZERO as it's been all season long, but this is what it's coming down to for today. The ultimate finale out here for AMX 5. This is the grand finale weekend with only 2 more races, AMX 5 and AMX 15. Seeing what we've seen in AMX ZERO, do you think we're going to see a lot of that transfer over now in AMX 5?
I like to think so. That was some fantastic battling and racing. Interlagos provides great racing as well. It's a slightly longer track, so I doubt back markers will be in the mix, but anything can happen. AMX 5, you've got that pit stop in Heat 1 as well to change it up a bit. So yeah, I'm ready for it.
So like we said, Caio Valero all but pretty much has this championship in the bag, but I know the Brazilians are looking to take home the win out here on their home turf. But before we get into today's action, everyone out there, make sure to follow all of our social media. Make sure to follow us on Twitch and YouTube. I think it's about time that we get into things. I can't believe we are already 10 weeks. The season has come and gone yet again. We've been out here since September 7th, and we are going all the way through tomorrow, November 17th. This season's prize pool of $11,000 plus and next level racing gear. Our race format goes as follows for AMX 5. We got that 20-minute qualifier going into that top 15 reverse grid for heat number 1 of 35 minutes, followed by a second top 15 reverse grid, and heat number 2 a little bit shorter of 25 minutes. So heat number 1 a little bit longer, double the points out there as well. So again, not really a lot on the line out here, but like I mentioned, everyone out here wants to take home the win, especially the Brazilians out on their home track. But again, for all the drivers out there, we love to see your beautiful faces out there. So driver cams are required. You can get the link via the AMX Discord or on our website. And payouts are done in balances over $100 paid out each month. We've been here every single Saturday and Sunday, wrapping it up tomorrow, the final Sunday. But like I said, if you want all that information or to get signed up, there's still time. Sign up over at amxrace.com. And like I mentioned, every single Saturday and Sunday this season with AMX ZERO, kicking it off on Saturdays at 5:50 p.m. GMT, followed by AMX 5 shortly after at 7:10. And we just wrapped up our AMX 10 championship last weekend with our double headers, 5:50 p.m. and 7:20 right after. And tomorrow, the big one, the grand finale of AMX 15, 5:50 p.m. GMT tomorrow, Sunday. Make sure to be there. It is a tight 3-way battle for the championship. It is still anyone's game, so absolutely stay tuned for that one tomorrow. AMX 15 gonna be amazing finish. But back to today, AMX 5. This is what the prize pools look like. I'm qualifying, $12.50 going to first place, $10 to second, $7.50 to third. Points awarded all the way down into 15th place. Once we get into heat number 1, like we mentioned, a bit longer of a race. Points are doubled. 25 points to first, 20 to second, 15 to third, and points all the way down into 15th place. And once we kick it back to heat number 2, a little bit shorter, it drops back down to $12.50, $10, $7.50, all the way down to 15th place. And of course, fastest lap getting an extra couple of points in heat 1 and heat 2. Coming to a total prize pool per race of $250. And everyone that wants to get involved, AMX 5, if you have 2,000 I rating, we love to see you out here. But once again, we are here. This is where we sit in our top 10 going into the final round. Starting in 10th place, we got Simon Demorny, who we got to see take home the win earlier on in AMX ZERO. In 9th place, Diego Villarreal de Leon. 8th place, Bruno De Carmo. 7th, Juan Blainot. 6th, Jackson SNJ. 5th place, Ralph Benitez. 4th, Evandro Dantas. And your top 3 for AMX 5, Toby Soriano with 134 points. Pedro Dean in 2nd place with 234.5 points. And your leader and champ-elect, who, like I said, pretty much has this one secured in the bag, Gael Valero, first place with 338.5 points, taking home the AMX 10 championship, and today will be taking home the AMX 5 championship with his points lead. But like I said, Gael Valero, he wants one more in the bag before he comes out. But before we get to that, again, Julian, I know this is definitely a fan favorite track out here today.
It certainly is. Who does not love a bit of Interlagos? Here in Brazil, in the city of Sao Paulo, first opened in 1938 with a length of 4.3 kilometers. It offers a mix of elevation change and challenging turns. Think the Senna S's Chungsao and Desida de Lagos are all great examples of these, with 15 turns, 10 to the left and 5 to the right. Most of those being in the heart of the track where you need that downforce that these GTs will give you. Speaking of GTs, let's make our way to the cars. Here it is then, the GTE. Like we said in AMX ZERO, these have been replaced with the GT3s, but we still love them to bits. They've got between 500 and 600 horsepower, then with the top speeds reaching roughly 300 kilometers per hour, rear wheel drive with a weight of just over 1,200 kilos. We'll see brands today like the Fords, Mercedes, and others as well.
Yeah, with that, again, just I think a pretty big representation out here today. But we're going to go into qualifying, check in where our drivers are at. Like I said, a pretty decent grid size out there. It's going to be a battle. We got a lot of Argentinians out there on track too. And speaking of that, I mean, we were just out here a couple of weeks ago. This is definitely turned into one of those. I know it's a fan favorite track. We got a lot of the Brazilians out there in chat cheering on their team, but you know they want the Delinte to take home another win out here today. But we still got plenty of other guys out there. Like I mentioned, the Argentinians. We got Sart out on the track today, as well as your champ Gael Valero. Of course, a lot of guys out in the Fords, BMWs, Corvettes, one lone Ferrari out on the field, Diego Villarreal. So we'll have to see that Ferrari 488. Again, just I love seeing all of the representation, all the different countries, all of the different cars manufacturers. That is what AMX is all about, being able to see it. And of course, fixed setups out here today, folks, as it's been all season long. So these guys really just having to be strategic. What car is really going to be their tool out here on track? No open setups for them to tweak it to their liking. They have to come in here, see, all right, which car is going to be best for which track? What are they most comfortable in? And so far, it's looking like Juan Blenat out here leading the pack.
Absolutely, and he's leading now by 2/10 or so. And of course, he was leading last week before making contact with Gael Valero over in, where was that? Sebring, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he's looking for Redemption Day in Interlagos, and it's looking good for him right now. The Argentinian leading in Brazil. Those fans won't be liking that at all. You can see though, going a very wide line through Chungsao, trying to get the best run possible up the hill, and you really want a slipstream here because it will give you so much lap time. It is ridiculous down the long straight, and then you also have the Retro Costa after turn 3. So good overtaking spots all around in this track. Then where you can't overtake is really there in the middle sector where you've got all those tight turns where it's really a one-line turn throughout that section.
And absolutely, but out here I see one name we haven't seen in a while, but definitely going to be one to watch out for, especially out here in the GTEs, and that is Nicolas Verones. So the Argentinian driver, of course, if you don't know him, he's raced professionally out there in the real world as well. We've seen him a few times in the sim, but Nico Verone, one of those drivers, absolutely do not put him down and out. He may be the one to beat out here today. Of course, two-time winner of the 24 Hour of Le Mans, as well as being able to take home the trophy out at the Daytona 24 Hours. So this man, just an absolute beast, great at endurance racing, great at team racing out here in real life. So we'll get to see what he's able to put down out here in AMX. We've seen him, like I said, seen him a few times. It's been a while, but I know out here at Interlagos, he's looking very calm, very comfortable out here. So the two Argentinians two Argentinians up top right now. Juan Blenat, Nicolas Verone. Jackson Assange is no stranger to this track, also sitting in third place. So, Julian, I think we couldn't have asked for a better finale. I mean, again, we've seen out there Duda Barrichello, several of the Barrichello family out here joining us this season for AMX. I'd love to get them in for AMX 5, some of these higher races in the future. But there we go. Marco Saavedra up on the timing boards now, jumping up to second, but then Nico Verone going and taking that spot right back. So Marco Saavedra currently sitting in third place. We got seen him as well, put it on a show last weekend in the TCR. So, I mean, man, I'd love to make a call right here. But again, it is still anyone's race.
Yeah, and we're still early days into qualifying, but right now, look at that, top 3 separated by less than a tenth of a second. Around a track like this, where you've got all those turns to lose or make up time, that is very close. And even there you can see P4, Jackson Roseni, all the way to Peter Zuba. That's just 3/10, and even Gael Valero, he's not too far back behind. So it seems like we'll have a fight for the lead, and hopefully a fight also for the lower podium positions, P3 all the way to P7 pretty much, it seems like. And I say this every time, if the gaps are close in qualifying, they're going to be a whole lot closer in the race. And of course, we've got that pit stop. We know drivers like Valero like to wait until the very last lap to pit, or you can go for the undercut, get out of traffic and pit early. So that'll be interesting to see as well. Only in the longer heat one though, which is 35 minutes. So yeah, it's such a tricky one to call. Honestly, putting out a prediction, it's pretty much impossible if you want to have some sort of chance of getting it right though. But right now, I would put my money on Juan Blenat. I mean, I feel like he's just got that fire inside of him from last week, where he wants to show he can win in AMX 5.
And I think really that's going to be a bit of a preview of what we're going to end up seeing tomorrow for the AMX 15 Championship. We have Gael Valero, Juan Blenat, Toby Soriano all in the running to win the championship. Like we said, Gael Valero, he'd love to make it 3 championships in a row, but at the end of the day, he just takes it one race at a time. Coming here, just tries to do his best no matter what, and that level of consistency is what has gained him already 2 championships this season, as well as his prior championships. But like I said, a lot of heavy hitters out here. We got to see Juan Blenat as well as Toby Soriano, them joining not as many races out here for AMX 5 this season. So it would definitely be great to see what they're going to come back in Season 7, because I would not doubt that, again, Gael Valero has been absolutely dominant, but there are a lot of guys that can challenge him. One of the biggest differences being if they were here every single weekend, I think they possibly would be taking home this AMX 5 championship.
Would have been a whole nother story, that's for sure, as Valero's biggest competitor was Pedro Dean. He's currently in P8. I mean, if you look at the performance he had in, I believe it was the Nürburgring in some sort of Formula cars, maybe in the Formula or the Super Formula or the Formula 4. That was incredible, but Pedro Dean, we've said before, he's more of a open wheeler racer, while Gael Valero prefers the GT3. Saying that though, right now he's in P6, and usually, Kevin, he goes with a Ford, but he's chosen the BMW today, so that's an interesting call from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, it almost always seems, like you mentioned, Julian, Gael Valero, if there's a Ford available, he is going to be taking it, but we'll have to see how that plays out in his strategy out here in the BMW M8. Only 3 drivers out here, one of those being Saavedra, who's currently P3 out in qualifying, and another one as now Ruben Llorente. So Llorente, again, doing a pretty good job out there in AMX ZERO earlier on today, trying to carry that momentum, but currently sitting in P10 out here in qualifying. Roman Pascucci, the only driver still yet to set a qualifying lap time out here. So we'll have to see, as he has about 5 minutes just over to be able to set an official time. So we'll have to check back in with Roman Pascucci later on, see where he's going to be. Again, looking like all these drivers going to be out on that reverse grid. So we'll have to see. Currently an Argentine 1, 2, 3 out here in qualifying.
Yeah, and maybe Tobias Soriano can make it a 1, 2, 3, 4. But look at how close these guys are in qualifying. So you could think just from this shot right here that it's a race. But all of them just really want that slipstream, and they're all so evenly matched and so fast that they won't really get held up by each other through this middle section right here as you dip down. And the elevation change on this track is just incredible. I mean, you lose so much turns 1, 2, and 3, and then you gain it back pretty much the run to the line. It's really a track that you gotta have on any sort of racing calendar. You gotta have it on GT3, Formula 1, and in this case, AMX Season 6.
So we'll have to see, of course. I mean, just such a lovely moment out in real life for the Brazil Grand Prix that just happened out there. I mean, I usually don't get very emotional, but I know it was a very emotional time out there. Getting to see Lewis Hamilton and Ayrton Senna's race car out there flying the Brazilian flag in the rain. I mean, it's such a memorable moment. Of course, if you guys, Formula One fans out there, take it back to the 1991 Grand Prix out in Brazil. It's one of the most memorable races that has ever happened at Interlagos. Of course, so many memorable moments, but last weekend as well, or sorry, I mean, oh man, the weekend's going by so fast, just time is flying by. But out there for the Brazilian Grand Prix, again, Lewis Hamilton, just such an iconic moment being out there, seeing Ayrton Senna's McLaren go once again around the track. It just, so many people, such a loss for words, such a amazing moment. I seen a few people out there out getting to watch the race in real life, and just seeing from the social media posts kind of behind the scenes of what was going on, just the crowd absolutely loving it. And yeah, but I mean, back to today's race, the crowd absolutely loving it out here. I see these guys cheering on out here for Delinte, cheering it on for the Brazilians. Currently, it's an Argentinian 1, 2, 3 at the top, but we'll have to see how that goes into heat number 1. Like we said, Jackson Sanjay, Pedro Dean, these guys have absolutely amazing pace. Evandro Dantas currently sitting in 13th, so we'll have to see where this is going to go for those guys in the back of the pack once they hit that reverse grid into heat number 1. Heat number 1 is really where we see a lot of these races won or lost. Once again, it is a mandatory pit stop going out there for heat number 1, and that has always changed the tide out here all season long. That pit strategy, really just what are they going to do? When are they going to come to pit? Sometimes the overcut works, sometimes the undercut, sometimes pitting early or pitting to the last moment. You never know what's going to happen. So keep an eye out on these guys. It is looking clear skies all day today. So it is unlike the Brazilian Grand Prix, not going to be having to fight the rain like we did out there in real life.
Another unique characteristic of this track, the pit exit. It's really long and it follows the track pretty much 1 to 1. It's got its own little Senna-esque section, its own little turn through, and then it comes out on the track. So that will be interesting. You'll have cars coming out right in front of each other or right behind them, and then they'll have to sit behind for the entire middle couple of sectors before they can make the move. So it's a really long pit lane. As I managed to get my words out, English is hard, fellas. Remember that in chat. It's not the easiest language. Valero, though, up to P4 now, and that is his qualifying done and dusted. He will be able to improve on that time.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at with, just under a couple minutes left, these guys have about a minute and a half. That looks like that will be Gael Valero's final lap. But here's another person that it was not his final lap. Marco Saavedra now. He's currently P3 out here, but he's trying to just get any little second, tenth of a second. Like I said, it's so close up for the top of the pack out here. 700s between first and second place. Another 600s between second and third place. So out here, Marco Saavedra, again, we'll have to keep an eye out as he comes across the line. Will he have enough? And it's looking like a lot of these guys just slowing down. So not quite. This is pretty much where we are going to be ending up out here. There, Josh Perween looking like a little bit of front end damage there. So again, Josh Perween, one of these guys, super quick out there earlier today in the Radicals, but struggling just slightly out here in the GTEs today. Like I said, it'll come down to how well can these guys defend that are going to take advantage of that top 15 reverse grid, as we have less than 30 seconds now, 20 seconds going around the last few corners. We'll keep an eye on Josh Perrine. Does he have enough to get up onto the podium out here in qualifying? We are to the final turn now, going around into the home stretch, and it's looking like, no, he is going into the pits. He was not happy with that lap, but folks, that is wrapping up our final qualifying for AMX 5.
Well, one last time in this season we can say qualifying is done. Let's head to Heat 1 and the grid.
Absolutely, and again, I'm sure we'll see a lot of these guys out here tomorrow. Gael Valero, Juan Blenat, Toby Soriano, that is the battle in AMX 15. But out here, the battle today, Juan Blenat coming out on top. We know that, again, wanting to carry this momentum into tomorrow. So big congratulations for our top qualifier out there, Juan Blenat. Second place, Nico Verone, again, the professional driver out here in the sim with us today, putting it down. Great time. Marcos Saavedra in third, Gael Valero fourth, Jackson Senje fifth, Toby Soriano sixth, Roman Pascucci in seventh, Pedro Zuba 8th, Pedro Dean 9th, 10th Gerard Sardeni, 11th Ruben Llorente Jr., 12th Josh Perween, 13th Evandro Dantas, and rounding out in 14th Diego Villarreal.
Well, if that qualifying result is to go of something, is that we're in for a very special final AMX 5 race.
There we can see as the cars are getting ready to hit the grid, just a bit of a formation left to go on for this one. So, I mean, I said it was really too close to call out here today, but I think I'm just going to go out on a limb and make a prediction. I think seeing how so much is on the line leading into tomorrow, how much momentum, and seeing where these guys are in qualifying, I am definitely, I mean, for sure, I think there's going to be an Argentine up on that top spot, but I think more specifically, Juan Blenat may just have this one in the bag. Again, anything can happen, so take our predictions with a grain of sand. We've always seen so much chaos going on out here in AMX, but Julian, who would be your pick out here for heat number 1?
I said in qualifying Juan Blenat, I'm staying with Juan Blenat. I mean, we've seen before he can make his way through the grid most of the time cleanly, especially when he does not race too hard. He's got 23 laps to do so. And yeah, I would say I'm putting my money on him. I think he is the best, but I would not be surprised, however, if Nicolas Verone gets it as well. So they were so close in qualifying. It'll really come down to who gets past the traffic first and the cleanest, then who has that clean road in front of them, just drive away. Which, I mean, carnage can happen here in Interlagos. Turns 1, turn 4 as well, and turn 6 as well, that fast right-hander. Anything can happen now as we follow the Porsche. Someone said, where's the Porsche? And the Porsche is right there. It's the pace car or the safe car leading us away then through Jungsao and on the main straight. That's a big lead from P1 to P2. They should catch up anytime shortly.
And here we go, folks. So now coming around turn 15, out onto the home stretch, we have the pace car about to head back into the pits. These guys, we'll have to see again out here who is going to come on top, who is going to get the best lead. Now getting quite a bit of a gap there, Diego Villarreal, between him and Evandro Dantas. We'll have to see if that's strategic or, how hard are these guys going to go off of turn number 1? But here we go, folks. Now the pace car is back in the pits. Evandro Dantas, Diego Villarreal on the front row. Who's going to get the best lead? And looks like that we are off, folks. Lap number 1, heat number 1 now, immediately going wide. Diego Villarreal trying to get the fast line into turn number 1. And we have our first spin of the day. There goes Pedro Dean off to the right-hand side into turn number 1. And more chaos going on. There we see Jackson Essentially. So 2 of the Brazilians already out of heat number 1 on their home track.
Oh, and in the background as well, forced all the way onto the grass there. Extreme defensive move from, I think that was Peter Zuba, all the way to the inside and now onto the curbing and off the track. Then side by side between the 2 lime green Fords then as they make their way. This is turn 6. This is where I said there might be some contact, but it seems like right now they've all kept it clean. Yes, they have. Down the inside on the front, Josh Perwin gets the move on Diego Villarreal, and he's got that lead done going into turn 7. What a move that was, getting that move done on the opening lap.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, we expect there to always be a bit of carnage on lap number 1, and it happened just like that. So some things change, some things stay the same. But now as we are coming around on the last sector out here at Interlagos, it is now Josh Perween leading the pack, 1.3 second gap over Sardeni. So we have the two Spaniards up front, Gerard Sardeni, Ruben Llorente in second and third as well now. Roman Pascucci battling it out between him and Peter Zuba for fourth place. Gael Valero shortly behind, Nico Broner right behind him. But here, you see a lot of these guys, here they go into pit lane, and that is definitely a smart move. If they've already seen the chaos that ensued, they want to get that pit stop done early. A bit of a splash and dash, just make sure they're going to be clean and clear of traffic going out here for lap number 2.
Here comes Ruben Llorente, then he's in the slipstream of Gerard Sardini. Is he gonna go for it? I think he is. Never mind, he's just gonna stick by him for now. That seemed like it seemed like he was all over the back of him and would have been able to make the move up the inside. Instead, now he needs to look behind him because Pascucci is now behind him and he's looking to make the move in the Ford, I believe that is, if I'm not mistaken. Very hard to tell from this angle. Do apologize, my GTE knowledge is not up to par. There we go, it is a Ford. Bang on correct. 1 point to me. Thank you very much.
And looking out now, so far the biggest mover out here in heat number 1 has been Nico Verone, already up 8 spots, now currently sitting in 5th position. But once again, we have pretty much half of the grid go and, yeah, exactly half of the grid go and pit on lap number 1. So again, I guess we'll have to see where these guys start battling it out. Once again, all season long it has come down to that pit strategy, that mandatory pit stop out here for heat number 1. When the points are double, this is the one you want to win. You want to win it all day long, but this is really the big hitter out here. So again, Josh Perween didn't have the best in qualifying, but has found his pace out here in heat number 1. Now we got a couple more guys out into the pits. That's going to be Nico Verone, Ruben Llorente Jr. out there as well. So we'll see where they come out in front of the other guys. Again, Peter Zuba leading the pack of those guys they have already pitted. So we'll have to keep an eye out. Where will Verone and Llorente come out? We'll just have to wait and see. Is now lap number 3. Josh Perween still getting a little bit more of a gap. Already 1.8 seconds. Roman Pascucci and Gerard Sardeni now battling it out for second place.
Yeah, and Valero just got past Peter Zuba going into turn 1. You can see there, coming out of the pit lane, Ruben Llorente right behind him. Exactly what I said. You come out pretty much in the slipstream of the car in front. And Valero's got that move done past Peter Zuba. Now he's got 10 seconds of clean air. And he is also the lead pit stop runner as well. Will Quamble not catch up to him? He's currently in P9 looking to make a move on Ruben Llorente, who just came out in front of him.
And so here we go, folks. Again, Gael Valero has already won the championship. He's just been so consistent now for AMX 5. I mean, really any championship that he's been, but it's going to come down to tomorrow, the grand finale for AMX 15, where that is still any of the top 3 drivers have a shot. We have Gael Valero, once again, Toby Soriano or Juan Blanot, all able to be coming home a champion. So will anyone be able to upset Gael Valero, or will he be coming out of here 3 championships in 1 season? Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Twitch or YouTube, we got that race going on for you. So right now we'll have to see, as Toby Soriano just setting the fastest lap out there, a 129.7. So these guys starting to find their pace a little bit more, get a little bit more comfortable, not trying to battle now, but the battles are still going on strong out in the middle of the pack between all of the guys who have already hit their pit stops.
And of course, the AMX 15 race tomorrow is around Suzuka in the GT3. So another classic car and track combination that these guys will be racing around for first 90 minutes and then 30 minutes. So we'll be looking forward to that as well. But for now, Pascucci is looking to make a move past Gerard Sardeni. Sardeni has now started to stabilize the gap to Josh Perwin, who, yeah, the gap's now stayed at 1.8 seconds. Or so. You saw the slipstream there coming out of turn 3. It's a big effect, especially if you're within 5 or so tenths, less than half a second. That's when it really starts to give you an effect. And can Pascucci get a good run out of Junsao and onto the main straight, which first isn't a straight, then slowly becomes a straight ever so slightly. But no, I think he ran a bit too wide there. He won't be able to make the move this time around.
And here we go now, folks. We got going into lap number 4 out here. Josh Perween, Gerard Sardeni, Roman Pascucci, your top 3 running order. So As we go into lap number 5 out here. Again, 23 laps around Interlagos out here for this heat number 1. Points are double. You can see the points right there on the right-hand side of the screen. So $25 looking very good for Josh Perween. Again, Josh isn't out here, but oh, a beautiful move there. We see side by side now Roman Pascucci, Gerard Sardeni. So these two guys been going back and forth. We'll have to see. That looked like, Roman Pascucci just kind of took that one away with ease. So I'm not sure if Sardeni, what the plan was there. Again, now Josh Perween, he keeps every single lap and he keeps going faster and faster. Juan Blenat has the fastest lap, but Josh Perween is just somehow not having to deal with any traffic, and that's been such an advantage out here. 2.2 seconds in the lead. Roman Pascucci, Gerard Sardeni. Now Toby Soriano right in the background getting involved. We have the two Argentine drivers up top making a sandwich between Sardeni. So we'll have to see again. I mean, it's so early on in the race, anything can happen and anything will happen out here at AMX.
Now's the question, Pascucci, can he close up to Josh Perween? Of course, he was stuck behind Sardeni, who ran wide, and Tobias Soriano might be able to get past now here. He got a whole lot better run because he stayed on the asphalt, on the tarmac, and did not go off into the grass. I think he might be coming to the pit lane. No, he just takes very inside line. Of course, the pit lane is pretty much on the racing line, just sticks a bit more to the left then as the racing line gets back over to the right-hand side. For the left-hander of turn 1, then Sardeni did drop down to Tobias Soriano, but he tries to get a good run by going for a late apex through turn 1 and gets a better run out of turn 2. Then now we can see, can he get the move done down the retro post? And no, the straight is just a bit too short.
And I think just seeing where these guys are towards the front of the pack, I mean, they're really not fighting with each other too much. They're all just trying to, I think, work together, maybe get a bit of a gap going on. But here we can see that incident at the beginning of the race. Pedro Dean just right there on the outside, just absolutely getting clipped hard. So just like that, Pedro Dean, we've said time and time again, just not having that great luck, and that was a very hard hit, sending him off into turn number 1. They're completely missing his front bumper after that one. So right now, Pedro Dean able to recover back into 10th place, so we'll have to see if he has the pace. About 2.5 second gap between him and 10th, and Nico Verone in 9th place. Once again, we still have our top 4 drivers yet to pit. Everyone else has already made that mandatory pit stop out here in heat number 1. I have a feeling that these guys are going to try and go the distance, wait until the last few laps before they hit the pit lane. Of course, Josh Perween, how comfortable he is out here, I think he's going to wait until possibly he starts hitting traffic for him to hit the pits.
Yeah, these guys are gunning for that. The ones that have already made a pit stop kind of stumble on each other and just get caught up in the fighting. Because right now it seems like Juan Blenat, he is making his way through the field, but every overtake he needs to do just loses him a bit of lap time compared to Josh Perween, who can just chill. He's got no one in front of him. Instead, he can either look in front of him or look in his rearview mirrors, where there is a fight brewing between Tobias Soriano and Pascucci. Tobias Soriano there, got past Pascucci, going wide there, very wide, and Sardini gets back past him. I'm not sure if he missed his braking point or something, or just ran wide, but he was very slow. Usually when you run wide, it's because you take too much speed in the corner, but maybe a lockup, I'm not too sure. We might need a replay to confirm what's happened there.
Yeah, it looked like Pascucci, just a bit of tire smoke coming off there. So again, just taking that a bit too hot out there, not quite having the amount of grip that he thought he did. But now dropping back down into 4th place, like we just said, last lap, anything can happen. And we already see there Pascucci just dropping down a couple positions. So Toby Soriano now in 2nd place. I think if there is one man that can absolutely close this gap to 1st place, it is Toby Soriano. So again, Juan Blenat still out there putting fast lap after fast lap, still holding on to that fastest lap of the day. But again, now Toby Soriano still great out here. And this is one of those things I said, today is definitely going to be a great preview for what we're going to see tomorrow for our AMX 15 championship. Juan Blenat setting down fast laps, Gael Valero showing absolute consistency, and Toby Soriano just showing absolute great racecraft. So again, a bit of a preview in the GTEs, but there we see again Pascucci, what happened earlier on here coming into that turn, and just looks like taking that a bit wide, not quite having the grip that he thought there, and unfortunately just starting to slide out wide. There we can see a bit of a lockup, and just like that, dropping down on the running order.
Yeah, maybe go on the crosses there on entry. Such a weird mistake, especially someone for him to make. Of course, he made that brilliant move on Sardini as well. But further behind, we've got the people who've already made the pit stop. We're on board with Peter Zuber right now, who's behind Juan Blenat. He must have recently been overtaken by him because he was splitting the two AMX 15 championship rivals. But now there's nothing between Juan Blenat and Valero. Well, there's 9 tenths right now. Will Blenat catch up to him and be able to make the move? Last time out, these two were fighting in AMX 5. It ended up with Juan Blenat spinning and drifting away, just keeping out of the wall there. But he is pushing. You could see great exit coming out of that right-hander as they drop down the crest, and now they will begin their climb. Then it's a very interesting main straight as well, because if you start with a standing start, half of the grid is going uphill while the other half is going downhill. Just ever so slightly, not a huge amount where it makes a big difference. But into the pit lane goes Pascucci now. Then where will he come out then, Kevin?
I mean, it's really going to be hard to tell out here, but just like that, we can see dropping back ever so slightly Pascucci. So yeah, like we mentioned, out here for AMX 5, these guys going out on track, they do only have that one mandatory pit stop going out here for heat number 1. So I'm going to be curious, is fuel going to play a factor in today's race? I mean, we've seen a lot of these guys take really quick pit stops, just, I mean, a second, 2 seconds, you know, really anywhere in between. But once again, I don't think a lot of them really putting any fuel out there, just going, making sure, hey, I hit the pit stop, like I said, maybe a bit of splash and dash. So we've seen that happen out in AMX 5 before, where these guys thought they had more fuel than they really ended up using. But out here in Interlagos, there's a lot of fast, just full throttle all the way out. So again, can burn up some fuel out here, but we'll just have to wait and see right now. Lap number 9, Josh Perween, the gap is starting to close between him and Toby Soriano. The battle in the middle of the field right now. Juan Blenat trying to defend off Peter Zua as well as catch up to Gael Valero. 11-second gap between Gael Valero in 4th and Sardani in 3rd. So a lot going on track right now.
And this is exactly what we were hoping for. A fight for the lead that is starting to brew. So Tobias Soriano, like you said, he is the man to catch up to Josh Bowen, and he's doing that just right now. Closed in 3 tenths last lap, and you see a lovely lap time there. Also a fight here for P4, P5, P6, Gael Valero, Juan Blenat, Peter Zuba, and Nicholas Varona. Not too far back as well, trying to take an alternative line, take a late apex in turn 1 and try and get the better run through turns 2 and 3. And he got a very nice run on Peter Zuba. Peter Zuba needing to defend the inside, then goes back to the racing line, but Verona is there, and he is down the inside going into turn 4, and that is a clean overtake, and now he's back up with Juan Blenat there, just like how they started.
So just like that, we see the experience of Nicolas Varone, absolutely just being patient, waiting for those opportune moments, and again, showing that consistency that has needed to come home with a win out here. Already up 7 positions. We have Juan Blenat up 9 positions, Gael Valero up 7, Toby Soriano up 7 as well. So these guys out here, we have 4 big movers, so we'll have to wait and see, is this going to be our top 4, as we still have Josh Perween, Tobias Soriano, as well as Gerard Sardini still yet to take those pit stops. However, there's an 11-second gap, so I expect Gael Valero to be getting up on the podium at least once these other guys hit their pit stops.
Yeah, and Juan Blenat, he's not really making any big inroads on Gael Valero. Gap at 7 tenths is now dropping as he's got this slipstream. But this is pretty much Gael Valero in a nutshell. Qualify, sure, you can qualify P5, P6, no problem. Just pit lap 1 or pit lap, in this case it will be 22. Just use that consistent pace and not getting stuck in fighting with other drivers, and he's done just that. And that's what put him in effectively the net race lead right now in P4 out on track. But once everyone pits, like you said, Kevin, he will be in P1, but already needing to break the toe as Juan Blenat seems like he's closing in the high speed straights, but then here through the turns, like I've said, through the heart of the track, then Valero is just able to break away a bit and give him the breathing room that he needs.
Definitely so. Again, we're almost halfway through this race right now. Still, Josh Perween holding it down. Toby Soriano starting to close that gap every single lap, a couple tenths here, 10th there. So we'll have to see. Toby Soriano definitely has the pace, but I think he's going to have to wait until the last moment. That way he doesn't have to battle through traffic coming out of that pit stop. So we'll keep an eye on the leaders later on. But right now, here is one of the things going on. Again, a preview of what we're yet to see for tomorrow. Gael Valero, Juan Blenat out here battling it out up towards battle for P4 right now. So Gael Valero again in the BMW M8, Juan Blenat in the Ford GT. We'll have to see. It seems like a lot of these guys in the Ford, I mean, really, if he's able to get in the draft, that's where these guys have been able to make the moves. Coming onto these longer straights, really just getting that draft, having a little bit better speed and getting just slightly later on the brakes. So there we see Gael Valero already. Not quite enough in the draft, not close enough for Juan Blenat to make a move into turn one. But now as we head on down through the Senna S, we'll have to see. Again, I think, Julian, at this point, it's going to come down to who is more consistent and who is going to make those slight mistakes that gives the advantage to the other driver.
Yeah, well, if you look behind Juan Blenat, Verona is actually closer to Blenat than Blenat is to Valero, so we might see a move for P5 before we see a move to P4 then. But these three, they are oh so close, of course. Valero and Blenat, they've been fighting throughout the season, AMX 15 like you've said, but then also the professional Nicholas Verona. First time I'm commentating for him right now, and he's in the mix with them right now. He might be able to sneak through while these two go side by side, get a good run and get past them if he just plays his cards right. And right now he's doing just that. He's keeping with Juan Blenat. I think he's got a rope connected to the back of that or just dragging him along, keeping in at pretty much 3-4 tenths or so, which is pretty much the gap you need, like we've said, for that slipstream to come into max effect. But Tobias Soriano has now caught up to Josh Perween. Kev is 6-10, so like you've said, Kevin, he's the man to stop in, and he's doing just that as Gerard Sardeni is now coming into the pit lane. So this will give us a good idea of where the leaders would come out if they were to pit now.
Absolutely. So again, yeah, we'll have to see him trying to possibly go for the undercut, but he's going to have to be dealing with a lot of traffic now that he comes out of the pit. So now hitting back out the pit, exits Sardeni right in the middle of the pack. So here he comes out. We'll have to see, is he able to stay in front of Peter Zuba as well. But now Gael Valero, a solid P3. So out of everyone that has taken a stop, I mean, coming out of the pits, Gael Valero may be taking this one home. Again, Toby Soriano, one of those guys we'll have to keep an eye on as well tomorrow. Juan Blenat making his way up, Nico Veroni. So I think we kind of expected this to be a possibility. Gael Valero, Juan Blenat, Nico Veroni, these guys be battling for that podium spot. So again, we'll have to see if, you know, our prediction, we said Juan Blenat early in the race. Gael Valero, he is definitely, like I said, how close all of them in qualifying, how close they are in so many different races, as well as AMX 5, 10, AMX 15, no matter where they are, these guys now, Nico Veroni, throwing a wrench in things between these top two drivers in the midst as well. I love to see it. Again, it's so crazy to see that we've seen a lot of guys out here at AMX, especially coming in from the real world. We've had Formula One drivers, now WEC IMSA driver, as well as Duda Barrichello out there bringing in the Brazilian stock cars, putting it down for these guys. So many different categories, so many different classes out in real life coming out here for AMX, putting it down as well. So, I mean, we just need to, you know, get Tony Kanaan in here with Delinte and see what these guys can do. But Toby Soriano right there going for the move into turn number one over Josh Perween. So Toby Soriano quickly closed that gap. And now that he is in front, once he has no traffic in front of him, that is a dangerous place for Toby Soriano to be, to start getting a bit of a gap. But Josh Perween still doing an amazing job holding on to that from the beginning of the race.
Yeah, of course, he got bullied on lap one, getting past Diego Villarreal, if I'm not mistaken. It was, and he's held on to it for 14 laps, which is not bad at all. But then he got passed by a very quick Tobias Soriano, and now it's interesting to see what type of pace he has in clean air and on behind someone else, as he's been pretty much throughout the race fighting his way through. You can see 8 positions gained. That's not an easy thing to do then, but if he pits then, he's going to come out pretty far behind. I have a feeling, at least behind Nicholas Verone, maybe in front of Gerard Sardini, if this overcut will work absolutely beautiful for him. And we know he has pace. Does he have enough to make it work? Well, it's lap 14 out of 23 then, over halfway already. This race has absolutely flown by, hasn't it, Kevin?
Absolutely not. I see someone out there asking if it looks like Josh is almost falling asleep. I mean, it's all hours early in the morning out there in Australia right now. So, yeah, definitely you can see that, the fatigue may be starting to wear in a little bit for Josh Perwin, but he's still putting down some great lap times out here in heat number 1. We'll have to see once again, heat number 2, how things shift up just a little bit shorter race out there, 25 minutes versus 35 minutes. But right now it's still Tobias Soriano. He wants to just get ahead as much as he can. So Josh Perwin still doing a great job of holding on to that second place position. Of course, an 11-second gap out there for Guy Alvalero. So once these guys do hit the pits, it is looking like, as far as the Delta goes, Guy Alvalero may be taking the lead. So again, I think they want to work together right now. They know they have the champ sitting right behind them. So Perwin Soriano may have to work together. Here, Juan Blanat and Guy Alvalero starting to battle it out. So once again, this may just slow them down. There we see right behind them as well, Nicolas Verone getting in the mix of things. So here we go, folks, as these 3 drivers, all of them want to be in that top spot, but there's only room for one of them.
Look at that, rear bumper to front bumper. All 3 of them are the match. Once we go into the main straight, it's going to be a slipstream and weaving fest. Then, but still, Valero leads away. He needs a good run now out of these last 3 corners if he even wants a chance to be able to defend from Blanat behind him. He needs a good run out of Jung Southern, which he's coming up to now. Will he get it? You don't want to run out too wide. You do want to use the gap, but careful, there is grass there. He gets a good run, but also Juan Blanat, and Juan Blanat, he's only 3/10 back, and now the slipstream is going for it. It's Ford versus BMW then. Valero weaving, breaking the toe. He's going left, he's going right. He's stuck to the inside. Oh, and there's contact. There's more contact, and a front bumper is off. And I think Verone, I don't really know what happened there. Verone is the one who got caught up in that somehow. I'd love to see a replay of that. But once again, Valero and Blanat make contact.
So I was looking there. I mean, I was about to cut in, and it was like these guys are getting dangerously close to that barrier the last few laps. And just like that, it looks like just a bit of clip there from Juan Blanat, getting too close to the barrier, and just how close Nico Verone was behind him, also getting caught up in that. So, I mean, just, man, we're definitely going to have to get a replay of that. Such a just uncharacteristic move from these guys to make such a mistake like that. But again, you're just in the zone. All 3 of them had their eyes on Guy Alvalero, and there we see Juan Blanat. I mean, luckily that wasn't terminal damage, but he just absolutely got crushed right there between the pit entry barrier. So again, I can't wait to see the replay on this. We're watching from that front bumper cam, and yeah, it was just got me a little bit nervous how close these guys are getting into that inside corner. Yeah, but just like that, I mean, really, that may just lead Guy Alvalero to end up winning these races once these guys up front start hitting the pits. So still an 11-second gap between Valero and Josh Perwin there in second place. Toby Soriano now starting to get a little bit more of a gap. But, folks, we're on lap number 17 out of 23, so there's only a few laps left for these guys to get as much space as they can. And here we see, is he going to go in? No, not this lap. So Guy Alvalero, again, coming around. Man, that just, I think that caught everyone off guard, that incident last lap.
I don't know what happened because Verone and Blanat had their front bump ripped. Verone must have been right behind them. If that's what happened, like I said, would love to see a replay of that because we were on the front bumper. We just saw contact and then suddenly confetti flying around the front bumper of the pair of them. And I think we will get a slow-mo replay, or yes, we will. I love a good old slow-mo replay. So here we go then. I think this shows it. Yep, here we go. So you got Valero in the BMW and Blanat behind then. So Valero was weaving. He went to the inside then, and he goes back onto the racing line there. And there's, well, apparently there was contact, but no visual contact that I can see. And there you go. The front bumper from Juan Blanat falls off as he gets hit from behind, and his spoiler. So very weird. So it seems like, I don't know, he must have made contact or some netcode issues. Kevin, your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. From that point of view, it does look like, hey, they had plenty of space. But I said earlier on in a race for the AMX ZERO that was probably the worst netcode incident we've seen. This definitely chops that up for the worst netcode incident that I've ever seen. I mean, usually you see with the cars getting into each other, but with that, I've never seen that much damage be done from a barrier. So just such a just weird incident, but that is the joys of racing in iRacing. But here we go, folks. Now Gael Valero, Toby Soriano trying to make it out of the pits. Who is going to beat it out here? It is Gael Valero now looking to take the lead out here. He has the pace over Toby Soriano, but this is the lead. This is the battle that we've all been waiting for. Unfortunately, it would have looked to be a great three-way, four-way battle between all of these guys. Like I said, a great preview of what we have to expect for tomorrow. But here, Gael Valero, Tobias Soriano, BMW and Ford for the lead. We are out here in lap number 18 of 23. Both of these guys taking their pit stops. So Toby Soriano was showing amazing pace. We'll have to see if he's able to hang on to that rear bumper of the BMW. Gael Valero, Julian, this is what is all coming down for. Gael Valero has secured the championship, but this is already going to be to carry that momentum into tomorrow and see if we have a grudge match going into tomorrow's races.
Yeah, of course, and if there was contact between Blenat and Valero, Valero might have some rear bumper damage there. Nothing I can see riding on board with Tobias Soriano right now, but you said you would love to see a great picture of what tomorrow would be like. That could also represent what might happen. Contact, we've seen it before with those two. It happened last week, and it's happened this week. It might happen tomorrow as well. If that happens, then, I mean, it's going to be whoever comes off better will win the championship pretty much. And today that was Valero. Tomorrow it might be Blenat or even this man right here, Tobias Soriano. We do not know. That's why AMX 15, of course, the mini race, anything can happen. But right now, Tobias Soriano, he just needs to get back in his rhythm that he had. Valero already starting to break the toe then, as Tobias Soriano in the slipstream just saves you so much time.
And I'm looking out there, so Nico Verona is still hanging out there in the pits. So I mean, he knew that damage that he had, it just so much front bumper damage for both Juan Blenat and Nico Verona that, hey, that was going to be their Heat 1 in the bag. So I think right now Nico Verona is just still in the pits, going to end up trying to just focus on Heat number 2, get back out there, set pole position, and try to get an early lead. Again, Heat number 2, a bit of a shorter race, no mandatory pit stops, so these guys may go the distance for Heat number 2, especially Nico Verona. He was looking to come a win out here today, and hey, I think Heat number 2, he may have that one. But right now, it's still Gael Valero, Toby Soriano. I mean, we expected Juan Blenat. I think that was our pick out here. And just that unfortunate incident, the battle for P1 between our top 3 AMX 15 contenders, that was what I was really hoping to see. So we might have to wait for Heat number 2 to see that going on, as well as Nico Verona getting in the mix of things. So right now, folks, we are just shy heading into lap number 20 now as we come around the final turn. Gael Valero leading this one. Only half a second between him and Toby Soriano, so both of them have extremely good pace, but I think it's going to come down to, again, how comfortable are they and how little mistakes are either of these drivers going to make these last few laps.
And there's not even a battle for the lead, but also for the podium P3 between Peter Zuba and George Sardini, and that was oh so close there. Tobias Soriano, he's catching up, he's in the slipstream. Look how close he is. Beware, Valero was weaving already very early on with these two fighting. Is now, if he could just stay close through the middle sector, which I think he'll do, just seems like he's got the rhythm now. Valero might have lost a bit after that collision with Blaine Hunt there, and you know, we said Blenat would win. He didn't. In fact, it went quite the opposite for him. Kevin, that is the commentator's curse. It has struck once again, then the third race in a row. And it's the third race of the day. So we should just stop making predictions, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm not even going to predict anything for tomorrow's races for... tomorrow AMX 15 championship. I'm not going to predict anything because I feel like I've been making bad calls all day long of... maybe I'm the reason these guys have had bad luck out here. But now, all jokes aside, though, still, yeah, it looked like, though, there, Juan Blenat may have almost had the move going to that home straight. He had the draft out there like we see right now. Toby Soriano has the draft. It's a lot of back and forth between these guys. One a little bit faster in one sector, the other starting to catch up. So, again, it's a game of cat and mouse right now between our top 2 drivers out here for Heat number 1. Gael Valero, he'll start getting a little bit of a gap, and then you can just see Toby Soriano just being a little bit better on the brakes through some of these corners. But now is what we got to keep an eye out going on there. Picture down in the bottom right-hand corner. We got that battle going on for P3 between Peter Zuba and Gerard Sardini. So, again, both of those guys want to end up out on the podium for the grand finale. We thought it was going to be either Juan Blaney or Nico Veroni also shutting those guys out. But hey, just like that, one small incident, one small mistake can have dire consequences. So we'll get to see again. I'm already can't wait for heat number 2. I mean, things are so close out here in heat number 1, but just how things have been up to that incident. I mean, yeah, looking forward to heat number 2 today.
We've actually got 3 battles. We got the lead for P1. No shit, the lead's P1. For the lead for P3, but also Josh Kerwin and Marco Saavedra for P5 there as well. Half a tenth separating them. So all 3 of these battles then pretty much identical fights in terms of gap between them. But now Tobias Soriano, he's closer than ever. 3 and a bit tenths then. Valero breaking the toe. Where have I seen this before? Hopefully you'll have a slightly different outcome to the last time. Now, and there was some smoke there. I'm not sure if he came in contact with the barrier or some netcode issue there, but down inside goes Tobias Soriano into the Senna SS. They go side by side. Valero tries hanging it around the outside. He cannot make it, but look how close he is. Can he get a good move through turn 3 and onto the Retro Posta? He's so close. The slipstream now is on the side of Valero. Is he close enough? He's gaining. Is the long straight just enough? It is. He has a look, but it's just not enough. But what a move by Tobias Soriano there. Down the inside, now running out a bit wide.
And just like that, I mean, that was the move that Juan Blaney was looking for until that incident happened going on. So again, yeah, it looked like just the rear bumper just clipping the pit wall entrance there for Gael Valero. But I think this time it did a little bit more damage for him. Last time Juan Blaney got the worst of that. Again, I think some of this is coming down to a bit of netcode out here, but Toby Soriano getting the lead that he wants. So we'll have to see, folks. We'll have to keep an eye right here because both of these guys have, I'm not sure if that damage to Gael Valero's rear bumper, though, is going to be enough to really just start putting a bit of drag on him going into these. So he's going to have to just really hang on to that rear bumper of Toby Soriano if Gael Valero wants to be able to get back. Again, going into turn number 1, that is probably the biggest place out here that you have that passing opportunity. So now there we are finishing up, coming around the last couple corners of lap number 22, folks. The penultimate lap, the white flag coming out, and these guys, I'm sure they're going to be a little bit more careful on that barrier going into heat number 2, but the white flag is out just like that. Gael Valero looking to the outside now, forcing Toby Soriano on the inside line through the Santa S. Who's going to have more momentum out here? Gael Valero doing a great job holding on to that rear bumper, but it is still Toby Soriano again just putting it down, and right now he's going to have a perfect defense if he's going to come home with this win.
And he's still just less than Valero. He's really only got 1, maybe 2 if he's feeling optimistic spots to overtake him. First one being up to the line of drag race, I doubt that will happen. Second one, I'll doubt even more, which is going into one of the harder braking zones in the middle sector. I'm trying to figure out what turn it is. I think it's turn 13 there, so it's the braking zone after this one. So the next right-hander coming up, if he gets a good run out of here, I doubt it though. Can he get a good run? He's got a pretty decent run then. Will he make a move to the inside? No, he's way too far back. Instead, he goes for a slightly later apex. Tobias Soriano slightly covering off that move there. I think it will come down to the run, to the line. Gap is 2.5 tenths of a second then. Valero, he needs a good run out of this final corner. Tobias Soriano goes half defensive. That might compromise him on the exit. Valero gets a bit of understeer at the apex as well. Then he's in the slipstream. Is it enough though? He is chasing him down. Then Tobias Soriano has led a great race. He went for the later pit stop and it's worked out beautifully for him. While others were crashing into each other, he was going his own race and he's picked up the Heat 1 win.
An absolutely great race from Toby Soriano and Gael Valero, as well as the battle going on there. P3, Peter Zuba just besting Gerard Sardeni. Now we get to see the guys coming across the line. Unfortunate incident out there early on. Juan Blaney, Nico Verone. Both of those guys, just like I said, the absolute domino effect around that final turn. The netcode has been strong out here today, but these drivers are still persisting. So we'll have to see. Out here, heat number 2, there will be no mandatory pit stops. So a lot of these guys now towards the back of the pack. Juan Blaney, Diego Villarreal, Nico Verone. Looks like Diego Villarreal may be completely retired from this race. So we'll have to see if he is able to make it back for heat number 2. But definitely Juan Blaney, Nico Verone, those two will be able to have their grudge match early on out here as they'll be shifting their way towards the front row.
Wow, that's going to be interesting seeing Juan Blena and Verone fighting from the front, and they've got Evangelio Dantas splitting or just in front of them even. So that's going to be interesting. It's surely going to have to be between those two. Like I said, Kevin, I'm not putting out any predictions because it's just, I'm just a bad luck charm.
Absolutely. So can't wait to see what these guys do, but there we go. Your BenQ session winner, Toby Soriano, able to get the best of Guy Alvalero right there towards the very end. A great battle going on. Guy Alvalero, of course, coming in second place. Peter Zuba able to stay ahead in third place of Gerard Sardeni right there in fourth. Marco Saavedra, 5th. Josh Perween in 6th. Roman Pascucci, 7th place. Pedro D in 8th. Jackson Senja in 9th. Ruben Llorente Jr., 10th place. Evandro Dantas, 11th. Juan Blena in 12th. Diego Villarreal, 13th. And Nicolas Varone out in 14th. With, of course, the fastest lap being set by Juan Blena. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to make any predictions out here for heat number 2, but the one thing I do want to see is definitely a bit of a rematch out there between Juan Blena, Nico Verone, as well as I'm sure we're going to see a bit of a rematch going on between Guy Alvalero and Toby Soriano. Like I said, folks, keep in mind, tomorrow, the grand finale, the championship round of AMX 15. You do not want to miss that one. A three-way battle going into the finale between Guy Alvalero, Juan Blena, and Toby Soriano. Those three drivers, we've already seen them battling it out here today. Again, today is a great preview as we're in the GTEs. Tomorrow, we will be out at the GT3s in Suzuka. So, man, definitely gonna be looking forward to that one. I don't think we've had this type of a championship ever in AMX.
Well, it's going to be a great race, that's for sure. Of course, first time that I remember, of course, this is my first full season in AMX. I haven't been around for too long, but if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time we had a championship fight in a endurance championship. So that's going to be interesting. Of course, triple the points in the 90-minute race compared to qualifying and the later sprint race. So anything can happen. So many factors. Oh, there's also so many factors in this race here tonight. Nicolas Varone leads Evangelo Dantas. Juan Blena is in P4. Jackson Resende in P3. Those guys slightly higher up the grid than they're used to, but I'm sure they'll make the most of it. I mean, just a couple less overtakes than what they usually need to do.
So here we go, folks. As we can see, the only Porsche out there on the field today, of course, being the safety car. So once again, I'm a bit surprised, but like I said, Porsche usually one of those more technical tracks, tends to be the choice out in GTE. But right now, folks, we're going to be out here heat number 2 as we go green. Nico Verone, Evandro Dantas, Roman Pascucci, already 3-4 wide out there in the middle of the pack. Now going into turn 1, it's a bit of carnage last, and just like that, a bit of carnage going on once again. So a few half spins out there from a couple of the 4 GTs now trying to remake it back onto the track. We got Corvette getting involved in that incident as well. So Evandro Dantas, Guy Alvalero taking advantage of that up 5, Toby Soriano up 7. So a few guys just really being able to shine through the chaos, just dodging and weaving these other cars. And now Nico Verone leading the race. Ruben Llorente right behind him, and so is Juan Blena.
Wow, that must have been Jackson Resena and Evandro Dantas, those two making contact there. Would love to see a replay on that. Very similar to what happened to Pedro Dean in Heat 1. It seemed like just one car clipping the other and the rest just getting tangled up in that as well. But now look at that, Valero down there inside there of Saavedra, and he's got that move done. He's now got Tobias Soriano in front of him. So Soriano is somewhere going past Valero. Must have been on the stone. Maybe I'm trying to think who had the inside line going into turn 1. I think Soriano had it, so that must be where he got past, if I'm not mistaken. Now look how close it is in the lead. Then Juan Blena right behind Ruben Llorente. Then 3/10. Can he make the move right away? That would be ideal. Of course, Verone, he would not like that. He would like Llorente to put up a big fight just so he has a bit more breathing room. We've got 16 laps then instead of 23, so it is a sprint. Then of course less points as well up for grabs Here comes Bernat though. He is going to go to the inside of turn 1, and he's going to get that move under braking, and he's got it done and dusted before the apex even, and now he can chase the leader gap at 8/10.
Yeah, so we've already got to see that going on in heat number 1. Of course, Argentina atop all day long. Juan Blenat, Nico Verone, and Marcos Saavedra, your top 3 in qualifying. So we see Saavedra not having the best of race, now trying to make up for it once again out here in heat number 2. We'll have to see. Like I said, just so much going on out here. Again, these guys, once they got 3 wide, I was really nervous about what's going on, because I mean, you never really want to take that turn number 1 more than 2 wide, especially going down to the Senna S. That's just asking for a bad time, and a bad time it was for some of our drivers. But here we go, side-by-side battle going on. Soriano, Sardeni, these guys, a bit of contact between the 2 drivers, and we'll have to see exactly who's going to come away with this. Now behind Gael Bolero, taking advantage of the battle going on in front of him, just trying to sneak around the outside. Now a little bit of contact there between Valero as well, Saavedra. So already all these guys getting involved in things. So it's already close battle going on into lap number 2. You know, the gloves were off after heat number 1. Heat number 2, these guys laying it out all on the line. The final race out here for AMX 5 of the season.
Oh, and it is oh so close. Pedro Dean defending from Josh Perlwin. We've got so many battles, I can't even count that much. But here we get that high, but Josh Perlwin looking to make the move. He's just going to stick by him for now. In the background, though, down the inside goes Tobias Soriano on Chiraro Sardeni. Right now, you can't see it. There you see it a bit, and I think he's got that move done. No, Chiraro Sardeni just staying out in front. And here we go instead. Tobias Soriano needs to look around. It's Saavedra who got past Valero. Sneaking down the inside is now going to have a look on Tobias Soriano. They're going down the Rota Posta and towards Tecia del Lago. Instead, now goes Tobias Soriano on the outside, going into turn 4. He gets shoved off the track. All 3 of them pretty much go off the track, and that is oh so close. We had a good look at the Ferrari engine there for a second, but Tobias Soriano has got that move done and dusted. Valero now still stuck behind these 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcos Saavedra in the mix of that things right now, trying to hold off Sardane. So like you said, just these guys swapping back and forth positions. Of course, I mean, all of them want to come in. And whoa, just a big spin right there. Pedro Dean getting spun out by Josh Perween. So again, we'll have to take a huge look. Just an absolute great job, though, of being able to keep it back on track. Pedro Dean, an absolute 360. We call him the stunt driver from what we've seen this season. Just that could have been so much worse. Like we said, he's not going to be too happy about that, but luckily no other driver got taken out into that incident, and Pedro Dean right back in the thick of things, now dropping a couple of positions right behind Marcos Saavedra. So still in the mix, and now getting in between the battle that's been going on the last few laps.
Wow, that is a lovely executed pirouette, but his tires must be absolutely screaming now as Valero gets past Sardeni. Never mind, he's side by side there. His car is blinking, he's disappearing, and now he's back, and now he is back up into P8, and now right onto Pedro Dean. Then he got a good run out of turn 3, then in the slipstream, and doesn't seem like Pedro Dean is fighting it too hard. Then can the BMW of Valero find a way past? No, just the straight not being long enough, and just does not want to risk it too early. But Leonard not really catching up to Verone in the lead. So it seems like that qualifying pace difference was not enough then, but instead bumping and banging and into the grass. There goes Vespucci, and Peter Zuba is now spinning off the track. Goes Peter Zuba, or actually still onto the track, but he did spin there. Wow, and they are certainly aggressive in Heat 2.
Yeah, just like that. Like I said earlier, when I said the gloves were off, that did not hold no bar for anyone. That meant everyone out here taking the gloves off. So I think really just knowing this is the last AMX 5 race of the season, these guys are just doing whatever they can. Some of them being a bit more aggressive than they should. And just like that, we see another spin off right there in the back. So right now, still middle of the pack. It's very close between Perween, Soriano, Marcos Saavedra. Again, Pedro Dean starting to fall behind the champion, Gael Valero, able to get a pass going on there, as well as now the battle for first place. Nico Verone, Juan Blenat able to close that gap, and Ruben Llorente following shortly behind these guys. So there we can also see what happened at the beginning of the start. These guys going 3-4 wide all the way into turn 1, and just, I mean, really, how can you not expect there to be carnage whenever you see these cars going that wide down through the Santa S? And just like that, immediately 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers getting caught up in that, 5 drivers getting caught up in it. So much going on, but right now still The lead is where it's at, as well as the battle going on for P4.
Wow, well, that's what happens when you've got, like you said, 4 or 5 drivers just on top of each other, all fighting for the same piece of tarmac. They just end up tripping over each other. Contact with one car leads to more contact, which then leads to more contact. It is the snowball effect. But then, well, now we're on pool with Pia Soriano, who's got 3.7 seconds to Ruben Lorente in P3. The top 3 are pretty much checked out now. With no pit stop here, I think that will be the top 3. Not putting my money on it though, because otherwise something will happen at the front. Then instead, we've got Marco Saavedra, who's really kicked up the pace then in Heat 2, hasn't he, Kevin? He's really going for it behind Tobias Soriano, the winner of Heat 1 then. And if he gets a good run out of here, he might be able to challenge him down the main straight. There you go. You've got the 2 last corners, which aren't really corners, just flat out kinks really. In the slipstream now, 2/10 behind. Can he make a move going into the Senna S's, or will he have to wait for turn 4? He's getting in the BMW against the Ford. Can he make a move? No, he's just sticking behind for now.
Like I said, I mean, just outright pure pace. What we got to see all the way from qualifying. You know, we know that Marco Saavedra has pace. He's been showing that all season long. I think really it just comes down to making those small mistakes, whether or not you're going to be in the lead, whether or not you're going to be up on the podium. So Saavedra absolutely, as far as just outright pace goes, he is a little bit faster out here today with Toby Soriano. But Toby Soriano has such amazing racecraft out here that this is really going to be so hard if Saavedra wants to get the pass done on Soriano. I think he's going to try and either have to, you know, really put the pressure on Soriano or just be patient and wait for Soriano to make a move. But like we got to see for Heat number 1, Soriano wasn't really making very much mistakes at all whenever he's battling it between him and Gael Valero. So again, we'll have to keep an eye on them, as well as the 2 Argentine drivers up racing for P1, Nico Verone and Juan Blanat. So those 2, just amazing pace all the way through P1 through 5.
Absolutely, and Lorente is another one who's kicked up the pace here in Heat 1. So it seems like it was just the pit stops which ruined the race for some of these drivers, or it was just contact and network issue at this very spot right here on the back of Juan Blanat. Then 4/10 between P1 and P2, and also 4/10 between P2 and P3. Very even pace though, 30.2, 30.3, 30.2 as well. So it's going to come down to who, someone needs to make a mistake. I'm not saying that you will make a mistake, but you just go keep it consistent. Lap 17 out of 60, not even halfway through now. And he just needs to suss out if he can kind of scare Verone into a mistake then by just going for a half stand. There is a mistake. I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but snap of overstay there. Pretty much exactly what, who was it? Was it Soriano who did it in Heat 1? I'm not too sure. Someone did pretty much there. It was Piscucci, I think, who did pretty much the exact same in Heat 1 there. And that's so easy to do then, just getting hard on the throttle on the curb, snap of overstay, and now Verone down from P1 to P3.
Yeah, so just like that, I mean, like we said, it just really comes down to consistency out here. So the slightest mistake for Nico Verone, just putting him down a couple positions. But right now, folks, we are about halfway through this race out here in Heat number 2. I mean, it's still such a close battle up in between these top 3 drivers. There's about a 3.5 second gap between 3rd and 4th place. So Marco Saavedra, Toby Soriano, those 2 guys battling it out, as well as Gael Valero in the midst of things. That's really starting to leave a bit more of a gap. Let these guys start walking away. So we still have half the race to see if these guys will go. And just looking at that, man, how far they're staying away from that pit entry barrier around here in Heat number 2.
Yep, that's certainly the wall of death tonight. Then 2 out of the 3 have had an incident with that, and Lorente's probably got the call of what happened with that. But he's currently in P2, then 5/10 behind Juan Blanat, 2 and a bit tenths, almost 3/10 in front of Nicolas Verone. And we had a question in chat, Kevin. Would you rather race in GT3, GTE, or GT2? For me, it's got to be the classical GT3. It's why I spend the most time racing with in the likes of Assetto Corsa and those types of sims.
Yeah, I mean, with those, for me, honestly, I am bad at all 3 of those classes. So GT cars are not where my comfort zone. I'd say I'm more along the lines of definitely a lot more comfortable in an open wheeler. Just yeah, that I don't know, for some odd reason, that I mean, way more comfortable off-road. That's where I really feel the most comfortable. Just, you know, slipping and sliding, going around, having to carry that momentum. Just absolutely different type of driving than the precision that is needed out here in these GT cars. So, but if I did have to choose, for me, I think just the era, the timeline, the history, given all of these, I'd have to go with the GTEs. I mean, for me, that's just such a special moment. Like I said, kind of that, just, you know, years and years later, 60 years later, that rematch of Ford versus Ferrari coming out. Ford hadn't put out the Ford GT in quite a while, saying, you know what, it's the anniversary of that original Le Mans upset over Ferrari. We're going to come out here and do it again. So, I mean, just for me, yeah, the Ford GT has a special place in my heart. So I'd have to say out here GTEs as far as modern GT cars go. But still, right now, we are lap number 9. Wambley not right there in the lead. Ruben right there. Nico Verone. So it's still a tight battle between these top three. Again, any of theirs now, the gap is increasing about 4 seconds between third and fourth place. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to make any predictions. Last time I did that, we had people going into the pit lane barrier. So this is what I wanted. A close rematch between a lot of these guys, and that's what we've gotten to see.
I'm all with you with that. This is great racing then. We had great racing in Heat 1, and that has continued going into Heat 2. The fight for the lead then between the man we are currently riding on board with, and not the one we're looking at right now, but the one in front of that, Wambley, Ruben Lorente. And don't forget Verone. I mean, he's always been there. P3, I mean, he was leading, lost the lead then. I'm not sure if it was pressure or just pushing a bit too hard then as the tires spread, but then again also the fuel level drops as now Lorente, he is close and he's got the slipstream from Wambley, not Verone. I don't think he can make a move here on Lorente, as Lorente, as I just said, has also got the slipstream. Saying that though, he's closing in, and he's going to the inside of the Senna S, and it's going to be a carbon copy of so many moves we have seen, and he's got that move done. Can he now be the one to get back the lead from Wambley? Now Lorente had a couple of laps to try, could not get close enough. Can Nicolas Verone now get close enough?
I was just out there seeing some of the people too. When we're just talking about the GT cars, of like, okay, which is the best sounding? A lot of the Aston GT1 V12. So I mean, really any V12s, V10s, just such a beautiful sound, as well as the Porsche RSR. Porsche RSR definitely, I'd say, one of my top 5 best sounding cars out there from GT cars. I don't know, top 3 definitely. I don't know if any order that I'd give them as well, but yeah, Porsche RSR. Anytime I see that car though, I'm always reminded of last year. Get to see, of course, it wasn't exactly a Porsche RSR. The car was built for hill climb, and I'm talking about Pikes Peak International Hill Climb last year. Leah Block going up the hill, putting on a bit of a memorial run. We got to see Ken Block the year before going up Pikes Peak, and Leah Block, you know, finishing that off in her dad's legacy. So a very emotional moment. I got to be around the Block family last year, and there's so many emotional moments. But that, again, is what racing is all about, the history, those moments. I mean, and it's so great to be able to see not quite exactly the same moments that we've seen really out here in the sim, but still plenty of great times. And again, just sim racing, such an explosion the last few years. I'm sure we are bound to have those historical moments in the sim that we've gotten to see in real life as well. But right now, folks, back to the race going on. Still Wambley not doing such a great job holding on to that P1 over Nico Verone. Of course, we see Nico had that bit of an incident a few laps ago right here around the same spot, just, you know, going a bit too wide out there. We've seen a few drivers just taking it a bit too wide, coming into the Senna S's or coming out of the Senna S right there. So Wambley not Nico Verone, the grudge match that we thought we'd see. I would say a bit of a grudge match. I mean, really, I'd say that kind of came down to such a weird race incident out in heat number 1, but right now it's still battling up. Now Pedro Dean, Peter Zuba, Josh Perween, all these guys too. Another grudge match going on in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, there's all of these 1v1s and then a 1v1 at the front then, like I said, Valera and Soriano, but then also Pedro Dean and Peter Zuba who's moved up 4 positions. Pedro Dean, who has not moved up any, he executed a lovely pirouette not too long ago thanks to a helpful push there from, I'm trying to remember who it was it Marcus Saavedra? I think it was, I'm not too sure, to be honest, or it was Josh Perwin. Now I remember. but can Tsukuba make a way by? He's just a bit too far back. If he gets a good run, he might be able to get the move down into turn 4. Of course, you've got the double slipstream. First the slipstream down here, then you've got turns 1, 2, and 3, and then the slipstream again. But it seems like he's close enough to maybe even make a move down into turn 1. Then he goes to the inside, then has a violent camera shake. That was a lovely little effect there. Kudos to iRacing there, the guys coded that in. Good job, guys. But he gets the move done going into turn 1 then, and now I doubt he'll catch up to Valero, but can he hold on to that P7 for the remaining 4 or 5 laps?
Yeah, and it's looking like there's a bit of damage there on Pedro Dean's car, so I'm sure that's really hurting his his top speed going into that home straight. So again, we'll have to keep an eye, but still right here, lap 12 of 16 out here, folks. We only got a few laps left in this heat number 2. So again, a great Saturday out here for our grand finale weekend of AMX Season 6. Of course, make sure to tune in tomorrow. It's been a great preview of what we got to see out here between our top 3 drivers. Juan Blanat, Gael Valero, Toby Soriano. And once again, although Gael Valero, he did great out there last round. Toby Soriano, of course, coming out with the win. But here, Juan Blanat, Nico Verona, these 2 guys getting into that incident. It could have been them as well towards the top, but like they say, that is racing. So coming out here, able to get towards the front row. Like I said, Juan Blanat only had to go up a couple positions. Nico Verona was sitting on pole position, made that one error and dropped him down. Right now, I think these 2 not too worried about Ruben Llorente right now, as there's a 1 second gap between them. But once again, from the on-car footage, we can just see how much to the right they're getting. And here we go, making the move to the inside. He's later on the brakes. Nico Verona locking up going into turn number 1. Juan Blanat now trying to get the switch back, but Nico Verona just carrying a bit more speed, absolutely sending it, and it paid off big time for him. Back in the lead goes Nico Verona.
But it's not over yet. Look at that, Juan Blanat. Seems like he's sticking behind for now. He would have been able to make the move easy, but he's just waiting for the long main straight. He does not want to get caught out on the final lap down that same straight. He's playing it tactically, but Ruben Llorente has caught up due to that. Now the gap is right back down to 4 tenths. Gap was 1 second not too long ago or so. Now he's closing, and it is real close between these guys. So yeah, Blanat, he could have made the move there, but he decided just to stick behind there, not risking anything going into turn 4, instead waiting and hoping to get that easy overtake done going into turn 1. We've seen drivers do that before. Sometimes it's worked out, sometimes they just didn't have the pace or just the good run getting out onto the main overtaking spot and just losing the lead or that position due to trying to play it smart. Then I think he's done this very well. Gap is 3.5 tenths, trying to read it through this red on grey on blue is not the easiest thing to do. So once again, like I said, I'm half behind as we've got on from the AMX ZERO, but it seems like Juan Blanat is just a bit too far back. Then even with the slipstream and all of that, then he is staying behind. But if he can get a good run now, you see he's going a bit later for the apex, trying to get a better run here through turns 2 and turn 3. Then can he get the move on the retro post and into turn 4? I think he's just a bit too far back then, but he just needs to claw in a bit at a time, and then hopefully lap 16 he can go for it.
There we go, folks. Just about 3 laps left out here in this thing, and again, slightly less than that. Nico Verona, we got to see such a beautiful textbook move, and again, I think these things just really being that much more comfortable. I think the hardest thing going from real life racing out here in the sim or vice versa is just really how you do it. Advantages of both hearing from some of these guys that have been able to be in both real life racing and racing in the sim. Some of the biggest things is, okay, sometimes it's a bit easier in real life just because you have that depth perception. You have all of your senses being able to feel exactly what the car is doing. And out here, Nico Verona is still showing great pace versus in the sim. You're able to put lap after lap after lap, so many more, just thousands of laps at a track that you wouldn't be able to do in real life. So like I said, each of them have their benefit, but right now still 2 of the best drivers that we've gotten to see in AMX. Nico Verona and Juan Blanat, the 2 Argentinian drivers, still looking to keep it a 1-2 on top, but who is going to be on that top step? We got to see Juan Blanat, of course, setting it down in qualifying. Absolutely amazing job. And once again, I hope we get to see Juan Blanat as well as Toby Soriano be back here for Season 7 and really just put the pressure on for all of the different championships that they can be in. Again, folks, make sure to follow all of our social medias out there. Make sure to see what announcements we got coming up for Season 7. as well as some other stuff. I know you guys have wanted it, but here we go, folks. Looking to make the move right now. Wombley not in the draft, trying to get it side by side. Him and Nico Verone going to the inside. Verone trying to carry the momentum. Will he get the switch back here now? Back a little bit of contact there on the rear bumper, but just like that, that slowed down the momentum of Verone. And now Verone going to have to pull something out, as he has just about a lap and a half if he wants to get that position back. But Ruben Llorente now trying to take advantage of that, going to the inside, forcing Verone to the outside. But now again, it's so close, folks, out here. The battle for P1, it is still anyone's race going on between these top three drivers. Verone holding on to second place as we round out the final sector.
Oh, 16 laps, and it's coming down to the final one. It seems like these three, they've been nose to tail for pretty much the entire race. Leonard gets the move in turn 4. Verano trying to get the better run, did not work out, but now he's in this slipstream. Beware of Ruben Llorente there. We've seen that he tried to capitalize on those two fighting, did not quite work out, but he's getting closer. Can now Nico Verona make the move going into turn 1 or into turn 4 like Juan Leonard did just one lap ago? Then you can see weaving left and right. He's going to the right hand side, the outside of the Senna S, nothing between the two of them. On the outside now goes the Ford, and a bit of oversteer there just off the racing line, and now he needs to watch out from the BMW behind him of Ruben Llorente. This is exactly what we said, picking up the pieces. Then he's going to the outside, great run. Then he's got the slipstream, he's being left just enough room on the outside then, but the Ford has just got enough horsepower to flex its muscles down the straight. But I think that's got P1, 2 and 3 on lockdown unless any of these make a mistake. But wow, what a final lap we're having.
Absolutely great. So like I said, white flags came out. These guys, the last couple of laps just been so close, but I think, like I said, that mistake that Verone made out there, just absolutely, that might have just been it. I don't think if he has the pace over Wombley not right now to be able to catch back up again, it may come down to the line. We've seen photo finishes out here in AMX. We are no stranger to those, so we'll have to see, are we going to get one for the final AMX 5 race? Here we go, folks. Now into the final sector. Wombley not, Nico Verone, Ruben Llorente. All three of these guys have been battling so hard all day long to try and get that top spot. But like we said, it only come down to one. And so far, Wombley not leading the pack now going into the last couple of turns. Will Verone have the slipstream behind him? Will Ruben Llorente come with the upset? Here we go, folks. It is all down to this. Wombley not leading it now down the home stretch. These guys a little bit of the pace, and it will be Wombley not coming home with your final AMX 5 race of the season. Nico Verone coming in right behind in second, and Ruben Llorente rounding out the podium in third place. An absolute great race all day long from these. We knew it was anyone's race going into this one, and Wombley not able to redeem himself from his Heat 1 incident, as well as Nicolas Verone, the two Argentinians atop the podium, as well as Ruben Llorente on there. Julian, such a great battle coming down to the very last couple of laps.
Wow, and this is exactly what we were hoping for, just fighting throughout the pack, throughout the race, and it came down to the very last one. And we talked about the potential of a photo finish, and look at that, Valero missing out by, well, what is that? Let me run the numbers, by one, no wait, sorry. There we go, between P7 and P8 there was a photo finish. Look at that, 1.5 tenths, oh so close.
So just like that, like I said, not a photo finish for the lead, but still, yet a huge congratulations out there. Wombley not your BenQ session winner out here for heat number 2. He put it down in qualifying and was able to show up once again. An unfortunate incident in heat number 1, but he bounced back, as well as Nicolas Verone bouncing back out here in heat number 2 for second place. Ruben Llorente coming in third place as well. So again, huge congrats. Nicolas Verone is setting the fastest lap as well. So as we go down, Gael Valero coming in fourth place. Toby Soriano in fifth after that amazing Heat 1 race that he had. Pedro Dean coming in sixth place. Peter Zuba in seventh. Josh Perween in 8th. Gerard Sardeni 9th. Evandro Dantas 10th place. Diego Villarreal 11th. Marcos Saavedra 12th. And unfortunately, we got Roman Pascucci in 13th and Jackson Asenje in 14th after a couple of incidents out there on the track. But we're going to have to see as, for some reason, Josh Perween getting back up on camera. Josh Perween, not the BenQ session winner out there. Like we said, that was Juan Blanot. But yeah, great racing all the time. Again, all day long. AMX ZERO, AMX 5. We'll both have to see exactly where we're going to go from this. Again, it's great to hear from all of these drivers. I really hope all of these drivers that have been up here, top 5, absolutely would love to see them be battling it out for a championship all along. Season 7, folks, it is going to be a good one no matter what we end up seeing. Like I said, as of right now, make sure to stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff going on. We've heard a lot of feedback from the fans, a lot of feedback from the drivers. So definitely we had a bit of a mid-season format change for AMX 10, change things up just a little bit. But now we are going to be heading back out here. AMX 5, of course, Gael Valero taking home the championship. But I think it'd be amazing, Jolene, if we're able to at least talk to, some of the drivers out here on track. So much going on today. So we're out here joined by Josh Perween. Josh, always a great time to have you out here for AMX. I mean, just so much going on all the way from AMX ZERO to AMX 5. Let's kick it back to AMX ZERO to start off the grand finale weekend. I mean, just, such a crazy car combination out there at Tsukuba. But what do you feel was really the key to winning out there at Tsukuba early on today?
Tsukuba was a bit of a challenge because I think I probably had the fastest pace, but it was very tough to overtake in the radicals because the dirty air was very challenging. So that was probably the biggest challenge, trying to get past people after the lap 1 incidents happened. So, but yeah, those cars are good fun to drive, and Tsukuba is a fantastic track.
Absolutely. So like I said, I mean, you did a great job out there, just really had amazing pace, as well as switching it back out here into AMX 5. I mean, really just how difficult is that transition going into 2 vastly different cars? Of course, the Radical SR8 now jumping into a GTE car. How hard is that transition to just really get your mindset right?
It's very challenging, and then you only get 15 or so minutes in the transition as well to get up to pace, so that adds to the challenge a bit. And I think for myself, I was a lot stronger in the radicals than I was in the GTE, so that was also a bit of a challenge for me, not having high expectations going into the GTE race. So, but it's still, it's good fun. Those cars, it was close racing the whole way through. There wasn't too much gaps between all the drivers in both AMX 5 races.
Yeah, once again, like we said, one of the things that a lot of people out here talking about is, of course, being one of the few Australian drivers that we've had out here. I mean, how difficult is that, just the huge time difference between a lot of other drivers on the field? I mean, it's the middle of the morning out there, pretty much everywhere in Australia right now. It's, early hours of the morning. How does that play into your races out here?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm on the west coast, so the timing, it starts at about 1:50 is when qualifying for AMX ZERO starts, and I opened my window because sunrise is starting now. It's 4:45 a.m. now, so the time zone makes it a bit tricky. I think as the day goes on, I go a bit slower as I get a bit more tired, but yeah, it's still good fun regardless.
Absolutely. Well, once again, a big congratulations out there, AMX ZERO. We hope to see you back again for next season. Again, it's always a great time to have you out here. So best of luck, and get some rest for this weekend. We hope to see you back soon.
Yeah, thank you.
And back in here in the interview room with Mr. Gael Valero. Gael, I already see there's a bit of chat going on, so I want to jump straight into that. Once again, we got to see you last week and close it out, AMX 10 championship, and now officially AMX 5 champion. But 2 weekends in a row, 2 championships closed. I want to get into the incident that everyone is talking about. What happened from your point of view whenever we got to see that incident? From our point, it looked like a bit of netcode. Walk through whenever that incident between you, Juan Blanot, Nico Verone with the pit entry barrier.
Yeah, just average iRacing interaction with worlds. Famously, something happened similar to Sebling not just 2 weeks ago. Just how the game interprets the car, where it should be and where it thinks it be, and yeah, it's just.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure, a lot of people, hey, it's always easy to say in the heat of the moment from a lot of different point of views, but like I said, I don't want that to take away anything from the championship. I want to talk about tomorrow as well. AMX 15 championship. It's going to be pretty much right now between you, Toby Soriano, and Juan Blanat. So we got to see a bit of that going on today. Do you think how this incident that happened today is going to affect how you guys race against each other tomorrow?
But not really, since AMX 15 is way different, like the format and how the racing usually goes, so I don't think it should be like impacting it that much.
Awesome, and I mean, one thing outside of AMX, now that we're coming down to kind of rounding this thing out, we also have out there a few people, some hype going around the Hyundai and Virtual Cup. So I mean, of course, being one of the best drivers that we've got to see out here. Of course, you've been around for a long time. What are your thoughts on what's going on around that and kind of what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it went, the start of Hyundai qualifiers went a bit rough, let's say. Everyone was quite unfortunate with such differences in the car, and then probably unmotivated a couple of guys. After that, trying to find everything in the setup and try to push the car as much as it's able to, and it's gonna be the same thing for the next 6 races at least, and yeah, the final in Korea. I'll take part, but obviously it's gonna be really tough to get in. There's a lot of competition, and yeah, you have to put a lot of time in, so in a way I'm glad AMX is over so I can focus on it.
Absolutely. And last question, what would you hope to see going into next season from AMX?
Surprise me.
Okay, I mean, hey, we've got to see you out on NASCAR. I know other people too. Is NASCAR going to come back? Is it not? So I'll ask you right now, if NASCAR comes back, can we expect to see you out there again? I mean, we've seen it a couple of weeks ago, but if we had an entire season of NASCAR, do we think we'd see Guy Valero out there fighting for a championship?
That's kind of a different thing. Yeah, that's surprising in that way, but I don't know if I would take part. It's way different. The knowledge of overall is very predominant over just driving skills. So you'd have to put time in, and maybe I'm a bit reticent right now to learn new things.
Awesome. Well, once again, congratulations once again on the championship out here for AMX 5, and good luck for tomorrow. It's going to be a close race. I mean, we haven't had a battle this close in a while, but once again, thanks for joining us in the interview room, and good luck for tomorrow's race.
Thank you.
So there we got to hear it once again out here from the champion. We got to hear from him last week, taking home AMX 10 championship. Today, absolutely cementing his AMX 5 championship, and we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. We already see these guys. A bit of work's being exchanged. Like I said, it is very easy to say things in the heat of the moment. I'm sure every single one of them are going to start going back, start watching the replay, really try to figure out what happened. But once again, it's all going to come down to tomorrow. Julian, what was your highlight of today's races?
Ooh, for AMX ZERO, I gotta say, just the chaotic starts. Not sure if that's a good thing, that being the highlight, but a bit of wheel banging, but also great overtakes. For this race, it's gotta be heat too. I mean, those 3 Juan Blenat, Nico Verona, and Ruben Lorente, all three of them, all so close. That was brilliant racing from all three of them.
Absolutely. But now I think it's time that we check in and see who our winners of the day are out here. Again, just so much going on, the battle between all these guys, but it will be, at the end of the day, Toby Soriano coming home with the final victory out here for AMX 5. In a close second place, we got Gael Valero, the champion, and in third place, Juan Blenat. So like we said, it was going to be a bit of a preview for what's going to come tomorrow. These are the top three on the podium for today's race, but they're the top three in championship points for AMX 15. Going down the list, we have Nico Verona in fourth place, Peter Zua in fifth, Marco Saavedra 6th, Gerard Sardeni Size in 7th, Ruben Llorente in 8th, Pedro Dean in 9th, and Josh Perween rounding it out in 10th place. So, like I said, if today was anything to expect for tomorrow, again, the excitement out here, it came down to the line for quite a few of these races all season long. And tomorrow, AMX 15 GT3's Suzuka, one of the best places to have a championship. But folks, that'll be wrapping it up for us today. Make sure, like I said, follow all of our social media, see what we got going on for next season, as well as other projects we're working on. And make sure to stick around on Twitch, YouTube. Tomorrow, AMX 15 Grand Finale. Signing out for AMX, I'm Kevin along with Julian. We'll see you tomorrow.